Hello, listening people.
Hey there!
You're listening to Spin Polish Presents Unappreciated Masterpieces. I'm Ryan Sliwinski.
You got it right, correct. And I'm Bartek.
You got it half right. I mean, you got half the answer correct there. You said the first part of your name.
The first half I got fully correct, so...
Yeah, but that's
100%
still...
right there.
No,
and you're listening to Spit and Polish Presents Unappreciated Masterpieces, the show where we find masterpieces that are unappreciated.
Or...
Yeah,
you said masterpieces are unappreciated. Or we find unappreciated that are masterpieces. You can be either way around, you know. It's for you to decide.
I think Ryan's hearing random ors.
No, it's an or now. Unappreciated masterpieces. See, I'm very happy with that one. So, what is
He's smiling, that's very true.
I'm very angry at you. So, I'm not angry at you.
Yeah.
I'm angry at you, the audience out there. Because you guys are part of the problem. And what is that problem? The unappreciated masterpiece problem. And you know what that is, Bartek? Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
The unappreciated masterpiece problem?
Yeah.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
It is movies that are so good that you guys out there didn't support them, didn't give them the critical or financial claim that they deserved. These are movies that we are going to cover in feature-length audio commentary. Movies that we're going to talk about the nitty-gritty, the deep meanings and layers to movies that need to be talked about. You may think, no they don't, but that's where we disagree. We think that these movies need more love. Isn't that right?
Yes. TLDR, we do an audio commentary on a movie that we think is underrated.
Yeah, that's it. And this month of Feb...
Ueri.
We have been covering duologies, film series that are so good that they only need 2 movies to cover their story. You know, they're better than your Godfather, your X-Men, and I don't know what else has trilogies.
In my dreams, Bill and Ted does.
No, Bill and Ted's a great duology.
Yes.
Movies that know when to stop, when to say, hey, that's enough. Mm-hmm. Because we are covering this month. We have covered Centurions 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And we covered Agent Cody Banks. What is the movie that we're covering today, Bartek?
The movie that we are covering today is... Look, guys, you all guessed it, so just say it along with me. Agent Cody Banks 2 Cel Londyn.
Okay, look, I don't speak Polish. I think the first half was Agent Cody Banks 2, but then you completely lost me. I mean, you know, Bartek and I happen to both be Polish, hence we're called Spit and Polish, because of what we're spitting. And we are both Polish.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't know, I was going to make a noise for the Polish part, like I did for spit. I don't know what the Polish noise would be. What's a Polish guttural noise? You know, each country has their kind of like, you know, noise that you could do. Like Russia has a I don't know.
You don't know.
Duh. There you go. They'd go
Ryan
duh.
is not 100% on right now, guys.
I'm 1,000% on right now.
That means you're dialing it too far, Ryan.
No, if it's out of 1,000...
Too much of a good thing.
If it's out of 1,000, then I'm nailing it.
Too much of a good thing.
You didn't set the mark of how high I should be able to go, and I did. So 1,000 to 1,000.
I didn't realise that I had to.
All right,
look
so we're
after
watching.
you.
What are we? Agent Cody Banks. What? 2 dead?
Is there actually a 2 in the title?
Yes.
Good. Cel Londyn translates to Destination London, therefore the full title is Agent Cody Banks 2 Destination London.
My favourite destination, Agent Cody Banks. I mean, he's a great destination to travel to if you really
Spoiler
want
alert,
to.
guys, he gets there pretty quick.
Actually, it takes him a little bit.
I know, but like in the general scheme of things. Grand scheme.
When did this film come out?
That's a good question, but the first one was 2003, so the second one was 2004? maybe?
4.
Yeah.
2004. A year later. That's a pretty quick production, if you're going to be honest, but we'll get into that. But first, let's introduce our amazing guest, because we usually have a guest that helps us discover the wonders. And in our first ever episode of this show, we covered Frankie Muniz movie called Big Fat Liar.
Oh yeah, we did.
We need the same guest. Who is that guest? The same guest from Big Fat Liar. The one who helped us crack the Muniz goo.
Ladies and gentlemen, when there's a Will, there's a Brooks. Brooks Will Brooks.
Hello, listening people.
Hi.
I'm here for the goo.
Frankie Muniz. The secret
Jesus,
of...
Ryan, he says one thing, you're already pissing
The
yourself.
Muniz goo, to be specific.
Frankie, I'm just thinking about like if we did a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles parody with Frankie Muniz, it would be like Muniz, the secret of the ooze, and it would just be like a story about Frankie Muniz's puberty.
Well, it'd be Secret of the Goo.
No, ooze for
The
him.
Goose.
There you go, and it's a story about his goose. So we are doing.
It's like a nice zany little film.
It is. And the goose is played by Anthony Anderson. So we are doing Agent Cody Banks 2 Destination London. Get your copy of this movie prepared because you guys are going to watch along with us, hopefully. I mean, you don't have to, but it would be like beautiful if you did because it's not only. You shouldn't just hear what we have to say. You should see what the filmmakers created. The color palette, the costumes, the actors' facial expressions.
And obviously the goo.
I mean, that didn't have to be said. That is also a smell that you could get from the DVD.
The goo doesn't have to be said, but all the stuff like the costuming, that needs to be said.
Well, yeah, because the costuming may be shit, and they need to see if it is. And spoiler alert, it isn't. It's amazing.
Yes.
So get your copy ready, because we are going to start this magnificent beast of a goo in 3, 2, 1, play.
Zilch.
So, MGM.
Metro Goldwyn Mayer.
Yeah, is it Mayor?
It's probably Maya.
You got it. Nailed it. So who's Metro?
Metro is what we call the train system here in Melbourne.
You got it. See, 2 is right there in the toe. It's actually
Agent
Agent
Cody
Cody
Two
Two
Banks.
Banks.
Agent Cody 2 Banks.
This is my favourite Banks.
It's like when you look at the poster for Scream 4 and it's like Scraform.
Scraforum. Or Fair Four Stick. Or, and on and on it goes. So, we're jumping straight in. The movie just does not relent.
It's like the Avengers all
when
over again.
we covered Centurions 1 and Centurions 2, I said Centurions 2 had something that the first one didn't, which was it had no mercy. This is the exact same kind of feel.
Yeah, well, this specific sequence, yeah.
No, the whole movie as a whole for me. Like, this movie was just relentless all the way through.
I felt like this film, and obviously we're not going to talk too much about the first one because we want Will to be in this. Or we haven't established.
No, that's what I was going to do. I was going to do a nice segue. See, this film does not really connect to the first one very much. Hence, Will Brooks has not watched the first movie. He just went in blind to see this one. No, Bartek and I, we had never seen the second one before having to do it for the show, so we didn't know how much it connected to the first one either. So it was a fun little experiment on our behalf to be like, we're going to be watching the first one and second one. Mm-hmm. We'll know the differences, the continuity and all that. And Will here, not having seen the first one, well, we can ask him, does this movie hold up as an individual film? Does it?
I would say yes, with probably maybe a little bit of a question mark. I think you'd...
How much of a question mark? Like, percentage-wise?
I think I understand more or less. I didn't feel particularly confused at any point. I think it's clear enough that at some point he was recruited to the CIA. I'm not sure how many of these characters are returning.
I'll give you the returning characters in their order. Muniz.
Yeah.
His parents.
And his
and
brother.
Keith David.
And his brother.
Oh, family and Keith David.
That's about 5.
And that's it.
Yeah, that's actually it.
There was no one else.
Yeah.
For the first movie.
Yeah.
No one else. And you don't need anyone else, to be honest.
Yeah, so 5 returning characters, and 3 of them only appear in the beginning and end, and one of them's Keith David.
So these two...
One of them.
And one of them is Frankie Muniz.
Could one of them not be Keith David, but he's dressed up as Keith David? Like, wouldn't it be great if the reveal at the end was, what they... Spoiler alert, this movie has dentistry. When they're doing the dental work, they're matching it up against Keith David's, like, dental work from the past, like, his history, and they're like, this isn't his mouth, and then they find a zip on the back of his head and unzip it, and it's the brother. And he's just like, I knew you were a secret agent all along.
There's only 4 returning characters. Yeah.
No, Keith David technically returns, but not as Keith David.
Yeah. So, Will, knowing which 5 characters are returning, do you feel more confident or less confident in your decree that this film is very fine as a standalone?
Yeah, I believe I will retract my question mark just as all these satellites are now retracting.
Into teepees. So this film has CGI, but here's the interesting thing about this. The film has less special effects, I would say, than the first one.
Yes.
But they use them all at the start. And that's good, because, if I had to say a weakness of any film, is the reliance on special effects. I think it's great that this film, look at that, a practical joke that could have easily been done with a CGI shot.
I guess that was one of the criticisms that was shot at the tuxedo, wasn't it?
Yeah. And every movie ever made, other than Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, you really needed the CGI there. So this film, like we said, none of us had seen this movie before having to do this show. I mean, Bartek and I had seen the first one, so we knew the flavour of what this was going to be, but boy, could my taste buds weren't prepared.
We were biting into what I thought was orange, but it turned out to be cherry or grape.
It was goo, actually.
Goo.
Frankie's goo.
Returning characters.
And you can really tell that this must have been filmed pretty close to the first one, because the younger brother looks the exact same.
Yeah.
Like, he has not aged at all. Like, even in a year, a kid of that age would be taller, deeper voice, anything, but he's the exact same.
Yeah.
Now,
it's like some kind of immortal, unaging fellow.
I've decided that Alex is my favorite returning character of the franchise.
Yeah.
I really wanted him to be a secret agent in this one. Like, in the first one, I know we won't go on about it too much, but he's, like, promised that he will become an agent because he's just, like, helped Frankie out.
Yeah.
I really thought that this was going to be, like, he was going to help out, but he's only in 2 scenes.
Yeah, and he had that little reference right there. Like, he thinks he's in the CIA, which kind of references the scene where Frankie tells him in the first film.
But that must mean, Alex has memory loss because he no longer believes that he's in the CIA, even though the first one...
Even though he got to use the gadgets.
He has concrete proof that he's in the CIA, but, holograms. But nah, that's just typical Frankie. We all know Frankie. Frankie's thing is, he's a teenage boy. I mean, no longer, but, like... He's a young person who's wiser. He's wise beyond his years. Like, they make jokes in this movie about, like, you're a kid, but you're acting like a 50-year-old man. Or something rather like that. And I think it's interesting that this film really kind of played around with the idea of, let's team up Agent Cody Banks with a grown man who acts like a kid.
Mm-hmm.
While he is a kid who acts like a grown man. And you're thinking... Now, this is the brilliant part of this film. You're thinking, well, at the end of the movie, they'll both have learned a lot from each other, and they'll kind of have found a middle ground where Cody realizes he can be a bit more of a kid, and the grown man realizes he should be a bit more of a grown man. Not this movie. This movie sets it up and says, you're thinking you're going to get this, aren't you? And then says, no, we're going to leave that for the sequel,
I think the film was saying, we're going to set this up, but wait, who did we get to be the grown man? The guy from Kangaroo Jack.
Now, let's not talk over Diaz here, who's our central antagonist. And I really like the speech he wrote here, that they wrote for him here. I think the acting was really phenomenal. Now, this speech reminds me a lot of Centurions. Again, in Centurions 2, Rupert Everett's character has a ginormous speech about feminism and being a woman, and this kind of is similar vibe where he's talking about trust and distrust and evil and anger, and he's just an honest guy. Well, when you saw this, I really want to, and I'll get this from you too, Bartek, did you know that he was going to be the antagonist before they revealed that he was in fact the antagonist?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because I watched the trailer and it makes it pretty clear that he's the antagonist there.
Damn it.
But it's a easy deception, I think, for children, because it's such a profoundly moving speech about a man whose sense of trust has just been destroyed by international realpolitik.
Yeah.
It'd be very easy to not realize he was going to be a villain initially, I think.
You know what's really great? This bit here. They're setting something up.
Yeah.
They're taking something away. And I thought, is this a spy gadget? And in the end, I think it's just nail clippers.
Yeah.
And in the end, what is the payoff? Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
The payoff is an even deadlier weapon.
It's like an investment.
Yeah. This movie invests in you. Now, Bartek, did you watch the trailer before watching this movie?
I have not seen the trailer at all.
Great. Did you think that Diaz was going to be the central antagonist of this movie? And yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts, considering also you watched the first one where you know that they have a villain set up for the sequel in the first movie.
Well, Ryan, you were kind of... You started off explaining this whole thing about our reaction to Diaz based on the speech, but his first impression also kind of raised eyebrows where, you know, Cody left someone a little, hey, sorry for the, hit, and, like, kind of cheeky thing, but also kind of friendly. And Diaz, like, flipped his shit at that and said, hey, trust no one, not even me.
Excuse me, the exact lines, I wrote this in my note,
Alright, give it
was,
to me.
trust equals death. Put that on your lunchbox.
Yeah, but he also said the thing of, like, not even
Yeah.
me. So right there, I'm like, okay, is he establishing a theme of this movie?
Which is... trust equals death.
But then we find out that no, he was just foreshadowing his reveal as the villain rather than a theme.
But it's also like, I think in terms of writing, like Will said, it's his motivation in life. Like, he trusted CIA, and they betrayed him in his eyes. Like, not in reality.
A theme of his character. Then,
Yeah, it's like
rather than of the whole movie.
Distrust, betrayal drives this character. He's a very Shakespearean character, if I had to say.
He's very much like
Jesse Ventura, the body.
No,
yeah.
the Indian actor who's in Hollywood films. He's been on the show twice. Thunderbirds. My God,
Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley. He's very much like Ben Kingsley in Thunderbirds.
Yeah, I often think of Ben Kingsley in Thunderbirds, and I think he should have been in this too, as the same character. Now, here's something. When I watched this, I'll be honest, I didn't necessarily think he was going to be the antagonist until he got in the helicopter. I'm like, oh, he's the antagonist.
Yeah.
For some reason, it snapped in my brain. I actually thought, oh, okay. Because in the first movie, they set up this camp. In the first movie, well, this camp is set up as a thing. This is set up. Like, you don't see it. You see footage of it where that's how they got Cody Banks.
Right.
And
in the first film, they have to establish why there's a whole league of child secret agents, and they're showing, like, a PowerPoint or a montage of, like, how they train people.
Yeah, at a camp.
And part of it, you see a camp. They don't really, it's not at the end of the film. It's very...
May I just ask why they have a legion of child agents?
Because they're cute, and you wouldn't suspect a child to be a secret agent. So I was thinking from that, I thought, oh, that's brilliant. You know, they set this camp up, and I thought, oh, this is kind of cute. They got this really mean camp leader who's your typical CIA kind of dude. Because in all fairness, Keith David in the first movie was very villainous as well. Well, not villainous, but
he was stern.
He was morally ambiguous because he's using children.
Yeah.
To get what he wants. So, like, that's villainous in a way. Like, in the end, it turns out for the good, but he's, like, really angry, really stern. So this kind of character existing in this scenery, I didn't go straight off, oh, he's a villain. I just went, he's gonna Keith David.
I mean, I get
they're in this powerful position in which there is this more ambiguity of using children as soldiers, basically, as spies.
Yeah, but that wasn't really a theme of the first movie.
No, I'm not saying that was a theme. That's just kind of something you can gather from
that's
this.
Something that you would bring to it, but it's not really what the film's about.
Oh no, but that's why when I came into this and I saw this guy being like that, I just went, this matches the world. This matches the CIA mentality that they've already established in the first Cody Banks. So then when he's like, don't trust anyone, I'm like, yeah, that's fair enough. Like, that's actually a proper CIA kind of thing I would believe them to do. And then when it was like, he's revealed as the bad guy, I was like, well, fair enough. I mean, I also got hung up because I actually thought that the Mummy, the guy who played the Mummy in the film The Mummy, and he was the bad guy in the henchman in the first movie.
The heterochromia guy.
Set up as the villain for the second one. Like, he'll be like, I'll be back. I was like, oh, he's going to come back in this one. Oh, okay, cool. And then he wasn't.
Yeah.
So I think I got hung up on that. But here's something. Here's Keith David. Will, what do you think of Keith David in this movie? Do you know Keith David as an actor?
I like Keith David. I can't think of any time he showed up in a movie or a TV show and I'm like, oh no, it's Keith David. I can't stand this. I always enjoy his work.
I do too. Bartek, what did you think of Keith in this movie for the small amount of time we do get him?
And this is more of a general thing, I generally think that this movie is funnier than the first film.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not necessarily saying that the plot is more intriguing or anything, but I think the comedy took a step up for this film, and I feel like the returning characters, Cody's the main character, but like the other returning characters, for what little we see them, I feel like they were also stepped up. Like the first movie had this whole minor, I'm not going to call it a subplot, but slight focus every now and then on the parents being like worried about Cody, like this mysterious thing, why is he going to this different school, why he got grounded at one point. But in this film, for what little they show of them, you know, they kind of play up the comedy. Like the dad's still kind of goofy, the mum's still kind of worried, and the
brother's still a dick.
We've talked about the brother, yeah.
Alex,
he's kind of like
fuck you, Alex.
Yeah, reverted to how he was earlier in that
So
first film.
Keith David has just set up Beanie Babies being evil.
Oh yeah, and of course the other returning character, Keith David.
David.
Well, remember, guys, one of them is Keith David.
One of
them is Keith David.
two of them could be Keith, but we don't know.
So since they don't use Keith David as much, even though he does become important at one point, I feel like what little they do use him, they use, you know, kind of gags there, like the whole Beanie Baby thing. That's a setup for like 60 seconds from now.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool with the Beanie Baby thing. You think they're going to use Chekhov's Beanie Baby, in which they set up a Beanie Baby in the first act, and you're thinking, oh, that Beanie Baby's going to come back in the third act. No.
It's not coming 60 minutes from now, it's coming 60
seconds from now.
And
I think, Bartek, this is where we disagree. Like, I agree it's a lot funnier. But for me, I find, like, don't get me wrong, audience members, this is an unappreciated masterpiece. I love it. But it is an example of a weaker sequel for me personally, where I do like the sense of humor, but I feel like it lost the sense of realism that the first one set up. Like, I think what's missing from this movie is the character. Yeah, the characters.
Let's ask Will this question. Will, how do you think Cody Banks is when he talks to girls?
He was at least a little bit awkward in this. I don't know. It was a little bit awkward, but I think he managed it all right.
Yeah, and
overall.
Do you know how he is in the first movie?
No, I would not. But the only thing I know about the first movie is I've got some information from a friend that was some sort of mumbled ramblings about nanobots.
Yeah. Well, his character in the first movie, the thing with him and talking to girls is it's his biggest character flaw. He cannot throw out a full sentence.
Yeah, unless they're full-grown women.
Unless they're his handler, who was a full-grown woman in that film, instead of the guy from Kangaroo Jack.
Yeah, who we love.
Who, don't you think that's a step up, Ryan?
Yeah. He has bigger tits than she did, so I agree 100%.
Not only was that a fat bastard quote, doesn't he in this movie like say "get in my belly" at one point?
Yeah, he also says he's straight out of Compton, so we'll get to that. Because that reminds me of Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
Which really could have added a lot to this. Okay, back to Keith. I just want to end Keith discussion right here now. I think
Is this your definitive statement on Keith
For
David?
me, Keith David is the representation, and I mean this, honestly, the representation of what is the flaw of this movie for me. Like, in terms of, Will can enjoy it because it's an individual film for him, but for me, like, this is a part 2. Yeah, this is a sequel.
It brings with it a certain
David,
legacy.
You know, the comedy is there, but the character's missing. Keith David is a lot more relaxed in this movie as a character. In the first one, he was yelling a lot. He was really angry. He was really stressed. In this movie, he gets attacked by Beanie Babies. He gets, you know,
Just one, Ryan. Be fair.
He gets led. We didn't see the full attack.
Well, that is true, but he only had one scratch.
We see.
I think he had 2 scratches.
We see him get punched in the face. Get implanted with.
Be fair, Ryan. He was punched by 2 fists at the same time.
2 fists, all this kind of stuff. He has to deal with Anthony Anderson, and it's really and Cody Banks let the main villain go. The Keith David from the first movie would have lost his shit. The Keith David in this movie didn't seem to care too much. I mean, he actually seemed like
I guess he
a
understood.
dad.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. That's where I go. He's the pinnacle of what you could consider to be wrong in terms of the sequelization of the Cody Banks movies, where the characters are a little bit off. Like, for instance, I love Frankie Muniz in this movie, and I love him, but here's a weird thing. In comparison to Vodafone, thank you for your advertisement there.
Fuck you, Vodafone.
No, we love Vodafone. We're not advertised by them, but it was in the movie. And Mountain Dew, evidently. But
Fuck you too, Mountain
the
Dew.
thing about Frankie is, I don't know if you felt this, Bartek, and or Will, I felt like for a movie called Agent Cody Banks 2, I didn't get a lot of Cody Banks in this movie. I got a lot of him doing things, but not like the character of Cody Banks that we got like from the first movie.
I guess, the first movie ended, they didn't necessarily plan a sequel. They're like, he is his ultimate person, and this is like the sequel where the ultimate person is doing a mission. But also he can't play clarinet, so that stresses him out a bit.
I think what I like about this movie, though, is, yeah, okay, it's a weakness for me that they don't focus on your main characters or follow through like they did with the first movie in terms of the character behaviors. But they do introduce a lot of wacky characters in this movie, and I love that.
That's what I'm saying about the comedy, yeah.
The comedy really, and
If you're looking for a sequel that wants to step up the comedy and you can forgive maybe a lack of legacy or proper legacy, then maybe this would be the film for you.
And this is like James Bond, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's London. So.
Hilary Duff's not in it, just like she wouldn't have been in a James Bond sequel, and they don't need to explain why she's not here.
Yeah.
She's just not here.
It's for the audience to decide.
Thanks, British Airways.
Did
Fuck
they,
you too, British Airways.
Did they end on a bad note, or are they dating? Because he doesn't get a new girlfriend in this film.
No.
Despite the fact that there is another gal.
There's a gal, a woman, in fact.
Originally,
Yes.
apparently, she was going to be a love interest, but the director decided no.
The director's got his own headcanon.
Yeah, and fun fact, different director to the first movie.
Yeah.
And I think you can feel it.
Yeah.
I think you can, I think...
But it is also a sequel, so there are other things you're feeling on the way.
London, feel that?
I guess.
I feel it's destination. So, William.
Yes.
William. Have you ever been to London before?
No.
Bartek, what about
Absolutely,
you?
profoundly not.
London? I've never been to the UK.
You've never destinated in London before?
No, I've stopped at a few European countries on the way to Poland and stuff.
Oh, man,
but
I've never been there either. I wanted to ask someone who has been to London if this is an accurate portrayal of London.
Well, I mean, it's filmed in London.
Oh, well, there you go. If it's filmed there, that means it's accurate.
That's true.
There you go.
Hey, what do you mean by portrayal? Like, of the culture?
Of the culture, of the society, of the look of it,
The
how it
spirit of
operates,
London.
the spirit of London.
Right.
I mean, in London, is there secret, alcoves where evil
Ryan,
British
that's where
scientists...
MI6 is based, so...
Well, is this MI6?
Well, it's not MI6, but,
It's-
They get involved later.
It is actually, I wrote it down in my notes, the main girl in this, she works as the central operating something or other, it just spells cop, which I was very proud of. On her door, it says like COP and it says what it stands for, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cute. Now, he's the cutest character in the movie.
Yeah, and this is his one scene. He's a one-scene wonder.
This was Roger Ebert's favourite thing in the film.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Ebert.
He gave this. I think he said this was
A thumbs up.
basically the only thing he liked.
I remember
specific
there was
man.
something else. I can't remember what it was, but this guy definitely was one of them.
Up there,
Also,
at
What about
least.
for you boys? Do you give him a thumbs up?
yeah.
I enjoyed him.
I remember another thing in the Roger Ebert review was that apparently he really liked the whole playing doctor line in the first film because he quoted it in his review of this film.
Well, that's good for him. But, here we have Mentos.
Yeah, Mentos is frequent throughout this movie.
Oh, yeah, it's a plot point.
Whether it's the explosive kind or just the regular.
Oh, that reminds me.
Yes, Will?
Oh, Will's just leaving.
Oh.
Goodbye, Will.
Well, he's just behind
Well,
you.
Will's gone now, so...
I can touch his bum from here.
Okay, if you want.
I'm just giving the
Is
audience...
Will grabbing out... I knew it! He grabbed out a Mentos!
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's the rainbow
It's
flavour,
not,
guys.
Yeah,
Now, guys...
it's not rainbow in the
guys,
film.
I'm going to do something unauthorized on this show, but I'm authorizing it.
I'm authorizing
level
it too.
5 clearance. I'm going to test if this is an explosive or not.
Oh, here we go.
Jesus.
I think it's explosive, Ryan. You shouldn't eat it.
Yeah, I ate it. We'll find out how my bowels feel later during the episode.
It's a delayed thing. It only affects you after episodes are done.
If I cut out a portion of it, I don't need dentists anymore. So.
If you have no teeth or a mouth or life, you don't need dentists. Put that on a quote.
If I'm
Grave.
dead, I don't need dentists. hold on to the dentists as well, Bartek.
Yeah,
That'll
coming
come
back.
important later.
They're coming back.
Well, yeah. I mean, you did say the main villain is the camp counselor guy who's no longer camp counselor, but there is sort of a trio of villains in this
yeah.
film. Who,
So-
now that we're in London, we can meet them eventually.
So here we have the comedy scene, and I think this is cool because this guy calls back to Agent Cody Banks 1, where we had
There
a
was a
crazy
cue.
scientist.
Yeah.
But he was a weird Texan or weird Southerner guy. This guy, opposite. Kooky British gentleman.
Yeah, the one in the first film, he felt like the kind of guy who wants to be hip with the kids. But this
You
guy...
don't think this guy's hip with the kids?
This guy doesn't...
When he offers them
this guy
his
doesn't-
Mentos in
this
his
guy-
pants?
This guy doesn't want to be, he just is. Ryan.
And then he does this. It's like, yep, yum. And Frankie looked really annoyed. Look at him. He looks like that was not scripted.
He did look like that.
You look at him.
Frankie Muniz,
Frankie-
be a
put off.
professional.
Frankie is a professional. Now, William, you watched the trailer for this movie, and then you watched the movie. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's more or less how it went.
Did the trailer give an accurate representation of the movie?
More or less. I think the trailer gives you the impression that she will be Frankie Muniz will be working with Hannah Spirit's character much earlier in the plot.
So does the poster.
Yeah, this movie gives you an idea that Hannah Spirit is actually in the movie. Like, she is, but she isn't. I was
Not-
actually surprised.
yeah.
I was actually surprised that, spoiler alert, she turns out to be an agent. I was actually surprised by that. I just
Yeah.
thought, oh, is he just going to fall in love with... I'll be honest. I saw the poster, didn't look at it properly, and went, oh, Hilary Duff is in this one.
I did the same thing.
Yay!
But I could have sworn that I read somewhere that she was in it too, so I guess I had that element, misleading me as well.
And here we have what I imagine to be one of Bartek's favourite characters, Jenkins.
He felt like an easy pick. He's definitely up there for me, but
It was hard to pick a favourite character for this.
Yeah, I'm kind of got three. It's this guy, Keith David I actually liked, and the African musician.
Yeah, hold on to that too.
Yeah.
The French horn player.
Really?
Yeah.
So nobody liked my favourite character. Well, who was your favourite character?
Oh, it's such a wonderful cast of characters. I did have trouble picking. There's a few I like. I sort of like his cabbie Kumar.
Yeah.
And then he only shows up for one scene, but the president of the the principal of the English school, who's just utterly transparently a huge cunt.
Oh yeah.
I had him in my top
how-
3.
I just loved how open he was about
He
he's a
said
huge
something so absurd later on in the movie. I can't wait for the subtitles, but he actually walks up going, "Twa-da-la-da-da, I love firing people and getting rid of students." Tweety-dee.
dick. He exits.
Really?
He
Exits
the scene.
singing by singing about how he hates people.
Just
I'm really surprised, Bartek, that your favourite characters never included his woodwind buddy.
I mean,
She's really cute. I think she would be great if she was actually the love interest by mistake. Like,
she's cute, but she referenced an Indian actor I don't know, so
well,
it
fun
kinda
fact.
swerved me.
Apparently, according to something
I
Will looked up,
think
that
his
Indian
name
actor
is-
is actually Pakistani.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, there's
They're not even an
there's
Indian actor.
You go on IMDb.
Awkward.
There's a
She's not an Indian actress. Yeah, I think it was a she.
Pakistani gentleman who's clarifying that he is actually from Pakistan.
Now, this is a great part of the movie where Frankie Muniz, not Cody, Frankie, thinks that every Mentos is explosive. Like, he's a method actor.
Well, he got traumatized by that scene.
I'm traumatized still by it, whoa, and then lens flares. J.J. Abrams directed those scenes just for a moment there, and now it's back to the real director. Now, did it explode? No, it didn't, and that's the beauty of it. There's the German kid. I think he's German.
Yeah.
He's played by Alfie Allen, who's Theon Greyjoy in Game of Thrones, and also, this is a connection to Centurions. His older sister is Lily Allen, and she had a song in Centurions 1 that our guest on that episode and I talked about for like a solid minute.
Okay.
So, connections between the two duologies.
Didn't the second Centurions also have a Game of Thrones person?
There you go. I'm sure every episode has
into itself.
If every episode had a Game of Thrones style death, I would be impressed. Now here's something. My favorite character is a one minor character, and Bartek, I think you will be not that surprised who my favorite character is. Prepare yourself. I really liked the moped guy. The guy who gets his moped stolen off of him by Anthony Anderson.
Yeah, well, it wasn't really a moped, was it?
It wasn't. It was a small bike.
Yeah, it was just a small motorbike.
Is that maybe a difference in dialect? Is
that a difference in culture?
In UK, is the term moped a bit
No,
more
in the
broad?
UK, it's what we think of mopeds, but in London, that's what a moped is.
In Destination London.
My favorite Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy Destination London.
I love Final Fantasy.
So, I know you do. But you know who doesn't? Hilary Duff, and that's why she's probably not in this movie.
The director's a big fan, so he was like, only Final Fantasy players, and Keith David's like, I love Final Fantasy.
No, Keith David's like, what is Final Fantasy? And they gave him a copy of...
The Spirits Within.
What is that the hardest one? What's the hardest
Oh,
one?
the Spirits Within was a movie.
No, they gave him a copy of the hardest game of Final Fantasy, and he nailed it down in like 5 hours.
I think it's Final Fantasy 3 then.
So he finished it in 5 hours, and Keith David's like, I'm a fucking pro. And then Anthony Anderson has a body pillow of one of the Final Fantasy characters. I'm like, well, we better let you win. It's got the male characters as well.
Steiner from Final Fantasy 9.
Now, Hilary Duff, again, not in this movie, but we do get an emotional character in this movie to kind of replace her, which we talked about briefly, and that is the blind butler. I mean, I feel like Jenkins really puts the emotional weight.
Was he trying to play it blind?
He is blind, but in the end, he's not blind.
I thought he was just old and crazy.
No, he's blind because when looking in his eyes, he has those the foggy eyes, so he's blind.
I mean,
that's why
we
it's
said that
funny.
about someone in the first film too, but he actually had, the guy we call heterochromia.
Oh, he had one blind eye.
Yeah.
And I was right about that.
Yeah, I know that, and I was joking with the heterochromia thing, but this guy, I don't think he's blind at all. I mean,
think-
obviously he's not.
I
but
think he's partially blind because they have this joke where he drives the bus. He gets in the bus and they're all like, "Oh no!" and he's like, "Whoa!" and it's like he's blind.
I know-
Plus, also he tried to put the bags outside.
I know he was walking the wrong way, but I just thought that was crazy old man play.
Excuse me, we've got a scene with a bunch of brown liquids and a Big Daddy shirt.
Is this the goo, Ryan?
No, this is Anthony Anderson's mud.
It's straight out of Compton.
I like
Straight out of Compton.
I like that the chocolate surprise was a hit to the point that at the end of the movie he asks someone for a chocolate surprise and they know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Well, Anthony Anderson in both Kangaroo Jack and this movie is full of surprises, and I wonder what he's doing these days. Is he okay? Is Anthony Anderson okay?
I think
he's actually doing pretty well.
yeah,
Is he
think
happy?
I think unlike the white guy from Kangaroo Jack, I think he's still doing stuff. I just don't know what.
I think, how I love, how comedians have been doing really dramatic roles? I'd really love to see him in like a really serious movie about
Oscar contender.
Wouldn't it be great if he was in Moonlight as the grown version of the main character?
I haven't seen Moonlight.
Well, you should.
Just say Lion.
Okay, what happens if he was in Lion, but as the kid version of Dave Patel?
That would be amazing.
He's lost in India, and he's still like... He's lost in India, and he's like, hey, why am I in India?
Gudu!
Gudu,
Help me! That's the name of the brother that he loses.
Oh, he's the brother as well. No, and his brother is the white guy from Kangaroo Jack. And it's a sequel to Lion. It's actually a sequel to Kangaroo Jack, where it's Lion Jack.
Well,
where it's about a lion.
Well, the first part of it's set before Kangaroo Jack, but then the later half is set
So it's a
after.
prequel.
So it's a
and
mid-quel.
No.
No, Kangaroo Jack's the mid-quel.
Kangaroo Jack has sequences that are set in the past when they're children.
Yeah.
So technically, it can still be in the same timeline.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm nailing this.
But where does the captain fit into all this?
Captain...
Did it have a name?
In Kangaroo Jack, they both loved this fake Superman ripoff called Captain something or other. That's where Frankie Muniz plays his role.
This is all just... All the connections are coming together.
How does Keith David get involved?
He's in everything, so he plays their dad.
He was really good at Final Fantasy 3, Will, remember?
Now, Bartek, I really want to hear your thoughts on just something I'm going to throw at you.
I have to think.
did you think at any point that the main villain Diaz reminded you? He did for me of Jean Reno. He really reminds me of Jean Reno.
I guess in a way, but he kind of looks like one of the people from a podcast I really like called Sleepycast. His name's Stamper. He's a popular internet guy. He makes funny videos and stuff like that. He looked a bit like that.
Are we popular internet men yet?
Everyone rate this podcast 5 stars. Share it with your friends. We got Will with us. Will's pretty cool.
Hit that like button, please.
For the YouTube version when it comes up eventually.
Yeah. So, William, when you watched this, already knowing where the plot was going to go, did it take you where you needed?
I feel all true art doesn't necessarily take you where you expected, but it takes you where you need to go, and I'm here, and I needed to be here.
Did you need to see a mind-controlled dog play piano? Now, I predicted this. I was watching this with my girlfriend, and she's like, no, they're just going to control the dog to pour scotch. And I just said, no, it's going to play the piano. They have the piano in this shot.
No, Ryan, it's clearly just going to pour the scotch right next to the obvious piano that's not going to be used.
My girlfriend
This
thought
is clearly
that.
entertaining.
My girlfriend genuinely thought that. But yet again, in an unappreciated masterpiece, if they had, like, that there and it never got used, it's not really beyond the realm of possibilities. I mean, that's what makes these movies a bit special, isn't it, Will? You see a movie where they set up this idea of, you know, the heroes learning something at the end, and they don't, you know, and that's a special breed that only unappreciated masterpieces can give you, is the setting up of an expectation and not following through, and it doesn't, like, piss you off. Is that fair to say, Will?
Yeah, I'd say so. Sometimes these films take unexpected turns that no other movie would, but not necessarily like, oh, that blew my mind sort of way, or oh, that really shitted me sort of way, just sort of their own way.
Yeah. What was something that did blow your mind in this movie? Was there a moment? I'll give you mine. When the really upper crust villain that we just saw with the cravat, Lord something or other. What was his name, boys?
Kenworth.
Lord Kensworth.
Duncan Kenworth?
Lord Duncan Kensworth. No, yeah. He reveals that he wants to demolish what was it, St. Peter's Cathedral or St. Paul's or whatever.
Something outside his
Paul's
window,
Cathedral?
To make a statue of himself and his dog. That really blew my mind. I actually was like, I didn't expect the villain to be like that. That particular villain to be so egocentric. I thought he would be like, you know, like the other villain where they want it for like grander things, but he just wants a vanity thing of my statue, which I appreciate. That was something that really actually did blow my mind.
But all he'll get is an amiibo.
What?
You know, that'd be the ultimate irony. He wants this big grand statue of himself, but then in the end, on his deathbed, like, look, Dad, or, you know, anyone who gives it to him.
He doesn't have children.
Yeah, I know.
The dentist will give it to him.
I don't know. Some kid who has a crush on him, they're like, look, I made you an amiibo of yourself.
And they're like, he's like, where is it? It's like, oh, it's gone. I'm sorry, it's really small.
Honestly, I can't criticize the dog playing the piano. I just watched a chicken play the keyboard on the internet the other day, so I think this is almost ahead of its time. This dog playing the piano and this.
I like Will just casually
I mean,
stated that he
zeitgeist.
watched the chicken play the piano too, and it's just like
keyboard.
Well, I mean, you know, it's kind of like a step up from that Keyboard Cat video that was all the rage once upon a time.
Yeah, they're all pretty good, but none of them are
This.
a random setup for blankie joke, and he says it's a handkerchief. That's like what a defense.
He's a big man, so a big handkerchief.
We're all big men. Do we all have big handkerchiefs?
I don't know. I've never had one.
Never.
Never.
He just wipes it on his sleeve.
I mean, I have this thing called tissues.
What?
Tissues?
I don't speak Polish.
They get out of a tissue box.
I don't know. I knew there was.
I don't carry around my snot with me once it is out of my nose. I don't see the.
I use.
Will knows where it's at.
Will keeps it in. To be honest, keeps it all in his nose. So, Anthony Anderson, we were talking about if he's happy, But you know what makes me happy? That he wears a night dress in this movie. He's wearing one right now. It's tartan. I've always wanted to see him in one. You know? There's always... This is the thing about Agent Cody Banks too. It gives you things that you deep down wanted but didn't really vocalize.
See, the film Kangaroo Jack was a film where he felt comfort in wearing his lucky jacket, and the conflict of the film is that he wanted to get that lucky jacket back to conceal himself more. Whereas this film doesn't have that restraint of
God, that's a comfy bed. Sorry, I had to say it.
I
Continue.
agree. This film doesn't need to have that whole point of him finding that comfort again. It can just openly in a random scene show him in a night dress and later on a bobo.
Hey, fun fact, did you know Justin Timberlake snores? She just said that. Justin Timberlake snores and
didn't
you
fact check
snore
that.
too. She recorded Frankie. Did she record Justin Timberlake snoring? Like, would you put it past his woodwind buddy to stalk Justin Timberlake and record him as he slept?
Well, I mean, she probably thought it was Justin Timberlake.
But it was actually a homeless man that had like a really bad blonde dye job because that's what his hair was like in the early noughties.
It was Sugar Ray.
Was he?
No. I just wanted to make a pop culture reference for all the 2000s kids.
Here we go. See, look at his
Sally
eyes.
ho.
He's blind.
Yeah, the fact that he turned his eyes all the way to the left to look back.
Yeah,
To not make them in the peripheries. Yeah, that's blind.
he's blind. I'm telling you.
Sure. Did you like this scene?
It reminded me of me cooking.
It reminded me of The Simpsons with the, lobster. Hence, there's a lobster in the scene. There's a lobster in The
Pinchy.
Simpsons. So
What's
that's...
this lobster's name?
We'll just say it, Pinchy.
Pinchy! Keith David.
I
Here we
actually
back.
think Keith David is a bit. I think his name's John. John, the CIA director in this film,
Well, in the first...
and I think he's a bit. I don't know, with this mind control program. It's like, he didn't want to use it for the greater good or for good reasons. He clarifies that Diaz wanted to use it for bad reasons. I don't think there's a non-sinister reason to use mind control.
Well, what happens if Bartek has a seizure? Yeah, right now, like he's having a seizure. If I mind control him not to have a seizure, then he won't have one.
Yeah, it's that whole thing of you really want something, so you got to stop them from wanting it.
I want Anthony Anderson to have a good career. If I mind controlled him to do it, then that's beneficial for the world, isn't it?
Because
Will
the CIA mind control program in real life was pretty fucked up. People died.
Well,
I think
people
John, the
died.
CIA director, has some skeletons in his closet.
One of them is, in fact, every cast member from the first movie of Agent Cody Banks that does not appear in this movie.
So Hilary
like
Duff's
Hillary
character.
Huff.
No,
happened
I'm
to him?
talking about, what's her name? Hanji Harmon.
Angie Harmon.
Hanji Harmon.
Angie Harmon. Angie Harmon.
Isn't me all the greens really green in this movie?
So it's a lush.
It's
lush.
London. There was a
Lush
scene earlier
London.
where he used a Mentos and threw out the window, and there was mooing outside, and my girlfriend said, "Why the fuck are there cows?" And I'm like, "It's British. It's the British countryside. Of course there's cows."
You should have said, "I'm sorry I mooed."
It was actually Frankie doing a fart. He farts. Is a moo sound. Yeah, do you know that?
There is a fart joke in this film, a very half-assed fart.
It was a
joke, but
very
it is
master
there.
of disguise fart joke in which a villain farts and then another villain looks awkwardly. It was my favourite part of the movie, well, if I'm 100% honest.
Hey, look, it's the girl from S Club 7.
Is she from S Club 7?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of the big
and she's
things.
apparently in Primeval, which I've never watched, but it exists.
Is that the one about dinosaurs?
I think sometimes some bugs and other things come back. There's a variety there.
That apple is really green. I'm just saying.
Well, it's London.
The green,
Oh,
the
there you
green
go.
in this film is very green, very lush.
Greeny. So everyone, this was one of my favorite line deliveries, and throughout the whole movie was he comes up and sees him playing with the dog and all this stuff, and the villain's like, he's like, "What are you doing?" And then he like half-hearts explains it, and he's like, "I love animals," and all this, and he's just like, now leave my dog alone and get back to work. Like, he says it's so... there's a level of so much honesty in that line.
I mean, he's had experience from all the slaves he's had.
What?
You know, like, stop doing what you're doing, go back to work.
Slaves or servants?
Yeah,
Slaves
whoa,
gives a bit more-
Bartek. He
Slaves
has
gives-
serfs. Come on, it's a totally different thing.
I would watch a film about him surfing.
Oh,
Here he is. Principal cunt.
You know what he looks like? He looks like a really British version of the guy who plays Cyclops. Like James Marsden mixed with Michael Sheen.
Mixed with Dan Aykroyd, maybe?
The hair. Yeah, the hair of Dan Aykroyd. So, here we have Will's favourite character who's like, he's just a real dick, period. As you say in America. Do they? Oh, this is what they say. The wholesome
Well, they don't say full stop.
Wait, look at this. I have them all expelled, and then do we get subtitles? No.
Oh, I think it's something like tra la 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 la. Expel them all.
Yeah, it's just like happy-go-lucky. Now, if I was Frankie and I didn't know how to play clarinet, and I got assigned to play clarinet, I would at least put in some effort to learn how to play clarinet at some point. Like, at least in the first movie, he didn't know how to talk to girls, so they did a whole, like, thing of teaching him how. In this movie, they're like, fuck it.
Pepsi.
True, but he's also a secret agent.
Yeah, he was a secret agent in the first one, so they had to teach him how to talk to girls. In this
Well,
one,
that was part of the mission.
and this is part of the mission, to pretend to be a clarinet player.
Yeah, but in this case, it's not to further the mission, it's more for the disguise, whereas in the first film, he needed to talk to a girl to further the mission.
Do you often wonder what other agents they have that are kids? Like, do you think you could have a Cody Banks expanded universe in which you have the sequel, you could have a spin-off of this movie be like Agent Alex Banks? You know?
It's like how in when you watch Star Wars films, the people who are really into the expanded universe will point at a random stormtrooper and be like, "Oh, this is blah 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 blah. He does this and this and this." At the start of the movie, Frankie Muniz did seem to have a slight friendship with some of the people at the camp. Frank.
So
That was
are
a
we gonna
kitty
get
hit.
Frank? We're gonna get Agent
There,
Frank.
wait, there was a kid who was 7 years old. His name was Frank.
Okay.
Not Francis or something. Frank. Who names this kid Frank in 2000s time?
The parents.
Americans.
Yeah, you got me there.
I'm sorry, American viewers. I'm sorry. I
Sorry
actually
to all the
apologise.
Franks out there.
He really, this guy really reminds me
Frank's
of
a
the
good
guy who
name.
plays
Just for the record.
Poirot in the
Sorry, who are we talking about?
the evil British man. He reminds me of the guy who plays Poirot in the newest versions of that character that's always on the BBC. Except he's not as fat. But he reminds me of that because he's got the bulge with the little twirly mustache. I love these kind of British villains in which they have their bold, twirly mustache. And
Oh, and here it is.
here it is, the pinnacle of comedy. We didn't even get a subtitle for the fart. We just have to assume something happened.
I don't remember this at all.
You
It's
missed
it's
out.
a very half-assed flatulence joke.
Well, I mean, it was full working of the arse at least.
Well, he might have used only half of his ass.
I
So-
remember this though.
Oh look, it's that he's the British equivalent of that guy who plays Scully in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like in the TV show Brooklyn Nine-Nine, there's a guy who plays a character called Scully, and he's always like a security guard or policeman and everything. He's like this fat guy. This is like his British equivalent. And he's like really pissed off that there's urine on his sandwich, but he still like eats it.
Maybe that was like a behind the scenes thing. It's like, all right, the scene's over. It's just
Look,
apples
so
and
sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do.
No, I think the British really like pee. That's what this is insinuating.
Also, you're saying that the P is a metaphor for, I don't know, something
Imperialism.
typical,
Yeah.
somewhat. I was gonna go with homosexuality, but
So a bit like blood pudding. There's urine sandwiches.
Yeah, it's called piss bread, and they really love it over there.
so the urine is a metaphor for things that are subjectively taboo, and he's like, oh, I can't be seen, approving of this. But then once he's alone, he's like, yeah, I'm actually alright with this.
You know what I really like? Anthony Anderson makes drinking pee look really cool. Like, what's this sequence in which he's talking on the headphone set or whatever, on the microphone, and he's just casually drinking the urine samples, and he does it like, oh, this is cool. Like, he makes me want to drink urine.
I mean, Ryan,
That's what I'm trying to say.
Is that another example of product placement? Does Anthony Anderson
Look,
have his own...
look. He's just like, yeah. And he drinks it like a boss.
Yeah, well,
Does he have
what
his
a
own brand of
Maybe-
piss that you can buy to drink?
it's clearly a reference to Billy Madison, where he makes peeing yourself look cool to 9-year-olds.
Oh, yeah, and I'm 9.
You might have been, you were a bit over 9 at this point, though, Ryan.
No.
You would have been at like 11.
No, I watched this before it got made. When I was 9.
So you watched this.
I wrote this.
So you watched this before the interview where Frankie Muniz said that he would be fine doing a sequel?
Yeah, I told him there was going to be a sequel. And he's like,
Before the first film even existed?
Yep.
Okay.
They filmed this
Ryan.
one right after.
Nailed it.
Because, you would have been 9 when Big Fat Liar happened, and this is 2 years after.
They were still writing... Apparently they were still writing the script for some of these scenes as they were filming.
Yes,
others.
that's one of my favorite trivia facts. Is they were still writing the script as the filming was happening. So
Didn't that happen with Quantum of Solace or something?
yeah, this is exactly like Quantum of Solace. Now,
London.
Will revealed to me, Bartek, hold on to your pants.
I'm wearing shorts.
They're still pants. Will revealed to me that this is not only the only Agent Cody Banks movie he's ever seen, but he's also never seen a James Bond movie before. So this is the closest he's ever going to get to watching any of those.
I mean, look, I've only seen maybe 2 or 3, so this kind of does feel
let me
up
guess,
there.
just the Daniel Craig ones.
I've only seen Die Another Day,
That's
the first
Brosnan.
the first Craig and the third Craig.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Quantum of Solace is the
I haven't
second
seen
one.
Yeah, I haven't seen Solace.
All right. Okay, cool. We all love Bond, but we love Banks
speak for
better.
yourself. Actually, I'll agree to that though.
Thank you. Now, here's something that really confused me in this scene. Now, you could blame this on them writing the script as they went along, but I think this is actually a genius move here. Frankie, or I should say Cody,
Yeah.
gets detected by just putting his hand on some wire, and then the chase begins. Why do you think that happened? Like, do they alarm the wires?
Maybe it was a tripwire kind of thing, but it does feel kind of awkward that it's just up there.
What happens if a
Absolutely
random guard leant
everything.
against it?
Everything has fingerprint
Well,
detection on
maybe
it.
there's a protocol that you do not do that, or else this will happen. And because someone does it, it's like they didn't know the protocol.
Here's something I want to know. Who's this random guy they're mind controlling now? It's just some guy.
Tom.
Tom?
Yeah.
Tom Selleck?
No, his name's just Tom.
Who is he?
It's Tom.
Who's Tom?
The guy that they're mind controlling.
But who is he? Is he just
It's
some
Tom.
guy they picked up on the... Oh, here's something I want to know. Is he just some guy booked in for a dentist's appointment and they're like, we've got him?
I guess at this point they haven't perfected it, so they need guinea pigs, so that would be actually a good front, Ryan.
Thank you. I really thought about it.
I mean, I don't care if you did or not, I'm just saying it's good.
This movie's got more gadgets, to say the least. I think what I like about it is he uses them. Now, can you imagine climbing up just using your pure arm strength with
Well,
the
core
magnetized?
strength, yeah. You need some good core strength and also good magnets.
And Frankie, he did a few weeks of martial arts training for this movie.
He's pretty rich.
He also
in
got
this.
$3 million more for this one than he did the first.
So I'm sure the training was very hard on him, knowing that it's a thankless effort.
It's a thankless Muniz,
It's
yeah.
only 3 million, it's pennies to, I don't know, Shahrukh Khan, Jerry Seinfeld, rich people.
Frankie,
Frankie Muniz.
not Anthony. He needs the $3 million.
How much do you think Cody Banks gets paid?
I think Cody Banks gets paid nothing. I think he gets paid in just pure service.
Just cool gadgets like his video now.
Yeah, I think what he gets paid in is they just don't tell his family. It's blackmail.
That's like that. No, hold on. That's solving a problem you're creating because they're making him a secret agent in the first place.
And like, if you don't do it, we'll tell your mum. And he's like, no, not my mum.
It's like how the video game industry creates DLCs and then they hold them to ransom. It's like, now we can buy it. It's like, thank you for letting us buy the thing you were holding ransom.
It's not really relevant to
Sound
Frankie
bitter there,
Muniz.
don't you?
But on
I
disc
thought
DLC
I was pretty calm there.
is
I
evil.
don't really care. It's just something I heard. Sorry, I was talking over Will, and I really want to know what Will says.
What do you
Oh,
say?
I didn't have anything relevant to say.
Thanks, Will.
But I
Could
just
you-
want to say that on disc DLC is pure evil.
Yeah.
Yes,
It is.
Day one on the disc DLC.
It's disgusting.
You know, it's not disgusting.
Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London.
No, the cinematography.
You said no to what I just said, Ryan. I think you meant yes, but this is the disgusting.
No, this movie's disgusting in how good it is. You know, like, it's so good that it disgusts people.
I guess you could say that, a lot of people like poo, but it tastes disgusting.
Yeah, and people who like poo, some people might say Agent Cody Banks is poo, but you know who produced this? That's right,
A guy who shits.
Madonna.
Yes.
That's a
Now,
short
have you got
sign
your
quality.
perspectives in order?
And
George Costanza.
George Costanza.
Did he produce the first one?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I saw this and I was like,
This movie had 12 producers, didn't it?
yeah. It had a lot of producers and they all wanted to jump in on this bandwagon.
Including a guy named Michael Jackson, but it's not the Michael Jackson that you think of.
No.
So I was like, Michael Jackson, really? But
Was he not friends with Frankie? He was friends with Macaulay, but
Yeah.
not Frankie.
I guess not.
Maybe
he wasn't-
because this was when he was being found out with all of his creepy
Maybe-
kid stuff. Is that around this time?
early 2000s, I think. Was it late 90s or early 2000s?
Early 2000s. I remember it being a thing in my memory, and I don't remember the 90s really that well.
Yeah.
I remember.
I just
2000s.
remember people talking about him, but I didn't hear like when it happened.
Sir Jerk-a-Lot. See? Isn't that a great name for a character? Sir Jerk-a-Lot. And you know why it's called that? Will, you want to take a guess?
Is it his?
He is a jerk. A lot.
You nearly got it. He masturbates a lot.
I knew you were going to
He's
say
an
that.
astoundingly chronic masturbator.
My fellow Americans, I knew Ryan would say that. That's
You know
is
why?
there-
You know why he can't stop masturbating? Because he's conducting them with his dick. It's his job.
Ryan?
And when they hit the high notes, that's when he comes.
Ryan, did you see his hair?
Yeah.
How it's sticking up?
See.
That's not gel.
That is in fact cum.
He's got it. Ryan's got it. He knew what I was leading to.
And look at those little glasses. You know what they're for? Stopping the cum from shooting in his eyes.
I didn't
It's
think
an
of that.
important safety tip.
It's safety. And look, Alfie Allen's wearing a headband. Look at that headband. You know what that is? Foreshadowing. Because he's going to wear that at the end of the movie when they sing an important song that is as influential.
That we've never heard in the history of this show.
Almost.
I know this film came before the film that I'm not referencing, but yes.
Was it a cover the other time, or was it the original version?
It was a cover as well.
I don't think Jack Black sang that song, so yeah.
Are you
I think it was a cover.
Oh,
We're all laughing about
that
something
the-
we
isn't-
only know.
Isn't that the biggest laugh we've had this episode? So it
No!
was from me just saying.
Please
that.
tell
I was laughing
audience
at the
home.
start and you were telling me off. Saying
But it
I'm
was still- it
going
was still-
too much percentage to handle, but when you have Sir Jerk a lot in the movie, you need to go to 1,000%.
But then it was Jack Black that made us laugh. It is
Hey,
what he
hey,
does.
hey! This guy made me laugh. This old man who has his tie tucked into his pants.
I've rocked that look before.
I know you have.
I've rocked the blazer.
And then,
in the pants.
I love that bloody taxis. And I thought, you know, what'd be great at the end of the credits. I always watch till the end of the credits in case there's something. I really thought at the end of the credits, wouldn't it be great if he's still waiting for a taxi? That old British man is still like looking for
It's
one.
nice when they remember the minor things and they make that the reference.
Your grandmother, his great grandmother. Get it right.
Great
Granny Smith. Just like the apple of her eye. You got it, Frankie. You're a rapper.
Not only did he get it, but you got all the lines correct because you read the subtitles. like
No,
a good
I
boy.
know the script. I wrote it. Now we've got company, see? And now she's leaning against the window. Oh, a chip.
Oh, chip.
He didn't eat the chip.
You know why? Because he's got a big gap in his teeth, and if he eats it, it's going to get stuck in that gap, and he's going to have a new tooth made out of chips.
He's got the London
You
look.
could fill that gap with a microchip or whatever they put in there.
Hey, why did they do that, actually? That would actually been cool if it's like, you're on a mind control. It's like, no, I'm not. It's like, you don't have a gap in your teeth. And it's like a tooth there that's just like blinking. And then they like punch it out of him. No, that would be too cool. Now, Will,
Missed opportunity.
Will, you have a flashlight, I imagine. I actually think if Will didn't have a flashlight, an old-fashioned flashlight like that, I'd be very surprised. Will, do you have an old-fashioned flashlight like that?
I do, actually. My grandma had a spare one. She's like, you should take this. And I did.
Knew it. And Will, does it have a rocket launcher feature?
I wish.
How are you sure? Have you explored the options?
My grandma actually uses her big old fashioned flashlight. That's her self defense thing. If someone breaks into the house, she's gonna
Ditto.
So
that's
use
Here he
the
is.
rocket launcher.
Here he is, guys. Here he is. Best character in the movie for me. Yeah, and I love Will and I talked about this. He says tough tiddly, and then he's like, I'm a government agent for the CIA, and the guy believes him. Like, but he still thinks. Well, what were you said about this, Will? It's like, he still thinks that, he's a CIA agent, but fuck you, pig. Here, have 50p and leave me alone.
Does the CIA
Go buy yourself a donut.
Does the CIA have that authority in like other countries?
No.
The CIA,
Yeah.
the CIA has whatever authority they can get away with.
Because the A stands for America.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does, Ryan. Central Intelligence America.
There
That's
is no
accurate.
I in CIA. Yes, there is.
There's no me in CIA.
No, there isn't. Unless you spell it with America.
There's no we either.
Wii U, my least favorite console.
But that's the one
It's
that's...
Nintendo's least favorite too. Oh, I made myself really sad now.
You know the Switch launches in a couple of days from this recording, right?
Isn't it launched already?
No, it's like Friday.
Fuck
I
yeah.
think Friday.
Oh well, look, they actually probably hate the Virtual Boy a bit more, but
Oh, fuck yeah.
Well, the Virtual Boy was such a big fuck up that they're fine, referencing it at least.
You know who liked the Virtual Boy? Anthony Anderson. I feel like he was the kind of guy who was
His
like a
console of
campaigner
choice.
for it. Like, advertisements for the Virtual Boy, where it's like, do you want to have fun?
I remember back when we did the Catch That Kid episode, you said that the villain in that film would have been like advertising the Wii U. Right, you're just looking for characters in these films to advertise Nintendo products.
You know what I love about Nintendo? They're now too focused on making good consoles, but not good games.
You know what I love about them? The fact that they never lower their prices. I went to JB Hi-Fi yesterday and every single 3DS game was $59.
Every one of them.
Yep,
Maybe
including an old Pokemon game next to a new Pokemon game.
Maybe that was JB Hi-Fi's fault.
No, it's
You should
it's
have gone
everywhere.
to EB Games.
It's
no, you shouldn't. have gone
they're
to
even
EB.
worse, I think.
Hey, alright guys. Enough about Nintendo and their evil, ruthless marketing strategies. Let's get on to the evil strategies of wannabe Jean Reno in this movie called Diaz. I like how his rocket launcher keeps changing in between shots. Like, it's this weird glowy thing now, and then sometimes it is a real torch.
Does that mean it's loaded or?
It means that he's ready.
It means that he's a
Excuse me, guys.
video game.
We're missing really slow fights. Like, that was... I think that's what I like about this movie. The action scenes are a bit more physical. Like, you can see them on the camera. Like... The first one had a bit more of the Jason Bourne style editing where it's shaky cam, fast. This one, slow, steady. Look at this. We saw that happen. Now we're seeing it in slow motion. He's grabbed the chain. And look, it's for us kids to understand. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad they do understand that I need to understand.
It's unlike Taken 2 where the edits are super fast. You can't tell what's going on. I feel like little brother Taken should be learning from big brother Agent Cody Banks
Actually,
2, Destination London.
I actually really would like Agent Cody Banks 3 to be a Taken movie where he's a grown man and now it's his son that's been kidnapped.
Which blonde actress is going to be the leading lady?
Miley Cyrus.
All right.
No. We need...
Paris
Is she
Hilton.
blonde?
You can make
I'm
her
trying to
blonde.
think.
She was blonde as Hannah Montana. Tuck your shirt in because you're about to talk to Ron Weasley's dad for this one scene. Now, Bartek, what did you think of this sequence here? I feel like this is a very quintessential, unappreciated masterpiece scene.
I feel like this is a quintessential scene for any type of movies where someone has to be undercover. Because, not everyone who technically would be on your side if you're against a terrorist of some sort would know that you're undercover, so they're like gonna have the interrogation scene, and then they're gonna actually they're self-aware about it in this. It's a parody. Frankie Muniz tells them exactly what's gonna happen, but the way they do it differently is that, you know, he's smart, he's cunning, he accepts it when it happens, and he's like, I apologize. He doesn't go, I'm so sorry, or anything like that.
No, he says it really bitterly. Like a
well,
real British man would.
You were right, but I'm not going to yield to your, you know, begging for apology thing. Forgiveness.
Where's this guy's backstory?
His backstory is that
he's just a guy trying to do his
his
job.
son stole his flying car, and he got so upset that he hit his head, got amnesia, wandered into the Muggle world, and became a cop.
And then, after that, he got fired from this job, and then tried to steal 101 Dalmatians for a fashion designer to make into a suit with Hugh Laurie. That's the career path of this guy.
Actually, you know what's incredibly stupid?
You.
The first thing I thought of... Yes. The first thing I thought of when I saw this is once I saw this documentary about UFOs in the UK, and this guy was the narrator. And unfortunately, that's the thing that stuck the most, even though I've seen him in other...
Arthur Weasley narrating about UFOs.
Does he believe in UFOs? Is he an alien? No. If you know what he would be good in? He would be good as an alien in Men in Black. If you painted him like purple or green, and he was like a random pen pusher in like Men in Black, the UK edition, like, you know, they send him over to like Europe, it would be great. He would be like their alien pal. Now look at this. Was a covert
operation officer.
See,
Cop.
Remember the O stands for America.
oh, it's not a P. I thought it was a P last night. That's not cop. It's coup.
Like a chicken.
They don't coup.
Sorry, wait.
What are
They
you on about?
cluck. Like, wait, what?
Oh,
which
sorry,
coups?
pigeons. Pigeons coup.
Yes,
Are
pigeons.
you
coup.
sure you know what you're on about?
Pigeons coup.
I don't see baby pigeons ever, so I don't know.
Pigeons coup.
I think you're wrong. You want to do your impersonation again?
Why don't you give us one, you cunt? Do it. Go on. Pigeon coup. Go, Ryan. Go. Will's still doing it. Go, Ryan. Go. Coup. Go. Animal noise, Ryan. Come on. Coup.
I love how you're like,
Coup.
you're saying, I'm saying,
Where's the coup?
excuse me,
Where's
what
the
does
coup?
the pigeon say?
Where's the coup? Where's the coup, Ryan? Ryan, I'm not hearing any cooing. Will gave us a bunch of cooing.
Okay, slow down. First off, your problem is I'm saying pigeons don't coo, and you're like, do a pigeon coo. So if I did, it would have to be
paradox.
it has to be a coo. And then you're like, see, you didn't do it your way. And then if I did it my way, you're like, give me the coo, Ryan. Give me the pigeon. See, it's a loaded coo that you've given me, and I'm gonna be the bigger man here
And make a coup.
and not
But like
submit.
But Ryan, I
COUP.
want clarification. If pigeons don't coo, what noise do they make?
Screams
Give
of
us a scream, Ryan.
screams of loneliness. No, fun fact, when I was at school, we had rooms that were on the second level,
Yeah.
and pigeons would have like their nests there sometimes,
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
and you would have a class of English. This actually happened. Like, it's like, all right, kids, today we're going to be learning about, you know where this is going, don't you? Today we're going to be learning about Romeo and Juliet, and then you just hear, and you look outside the window, it's just pigeons fucking. And you're like, sorry, Romeo and Juliet, don't care how this ends.
The movie just faded to black.
Yeah, that means it's over. This
no, guys.
roll credits over
Don't you-
these three heads.
No, it fades to black after that, like, Chinese food box. It's like, oh.
Do you think it's a requirement for Agent Cody Banks villains to be bold? Except for Ian McShane.
Well, I mean, he had the whole blackface thing.
Yeah, so he had blackface.
It balanced out.
But he was the only bold villain. Now here's something, Will. I don't. Oh, subtitles. Oh, cool. I don't want to get too much into this, but you know, another thing I think might make this movie unappreciated. It's hard to say, but the first movie ended with the brutal murder of the bad guy. This movie, no brutal murders.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why it's unpopular.
Well, just to let you know, in the first film, this brutal murder that Ryan is alluding to, one of our immediate comparisons was the melting scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
yeah.
Really?
It was to that level.
I love this sequence here
Is
in
there a
which
bit of blood and guts? Or is it
lots.
It's more like the blood completely vanished and you just scrunch up into nothing but, like, flesh.
It's basically if you did, when you play video games and sometimes they glitch and their eyes and their teeth are pushed from the face graphic. That's it.
Yeah.
So here's something I really like about this sequence here. Again, plays with the expectations. Where did you think this scene was gonna go? Once he started flicking the food.
I don't know where it was going, but the fact that they kept laughing throughout his wackiness, like this sequence, right? Well, this part of the film after he gets the chip implanted into him really kind of solidified my realization of how much the comedy is front and center. Because in the first film, we didn't see the bad guys all that much, and when we did, they were kind of sinister. But in this sequence here, all the bad guys, including Diaz, who has kind of been a serious villain, are all like goofing around, having fun with this.
Why wouldn't you?
I know, I would too, but it just doesn't kind of fit the image of like a villain.
Well, Diaz and the villains have to let their what hair they do have down to have fun.
No, I know, and that's what I'm saying. The comedy is front and center.
Will, what about you? When this sequence started, when he started throwing the food, where did you think this scene was going to go?
I thought they would go further. I thought he would just completely and utterly trash this table.
Am I the only one who thought they was going to break out into a giant food fight? I thought it was going to break out into a giant food fight where they're all going to throw food at each other, but he only did it, and then when he left, everyone reacted normally, like,
Yeah.
my God, my clothes! Why did he do that? That was completely, like, they were real-world reactions.
Yeah, if he wasn't mind-controlled and the movie had that tone thing going, they might have gone on a food fight route, but I don't know. I think the fact that we're trying to see him as also being mind-controlled would delve away from the whole whimsical.
But they're all
development
laughing and having
I
a
know,
good time, the kids.
I know, but I'm saying that because of the developments, I think the movie would steer away from that.
You know what? I know that his woodwind buddy is a young girl, but now she's a woman. I think her character would be a weird sex freak with woodwind instruments involved. Will, back me up on that.
No comment.
Oh, so we're not gonna... Oh, I thought we were gonna do a skit.
You're always looking for that, aren't you?
What do you guys think of the dentist's character?
He reminds me of you if you were in this movie.
Oh, who's the you that Ryan's talking about?
It's a mystery for the audience.
Because I'm
they
actually
can't
very confused
see.
because you were answering Will's question, but you were looking at me, so I'm like...
It was you, Will. If Will was a character in this movie, he would be the crazy evil dentist.
The guy who plays the dentist is some Spanish director who I know entirely from his little appearances in American movies.
Such as Agent Cody Banks 2.
And Blade 2.
Destination
He's in
London.
Blade 2.
Is he in Blade 2 as the same
Which is sort of
evil
a
dentist?
which is sort of a I don't think we asked his profession in Blade 2.
Oh, well, he could have been an evil dentist.
Maybe.
He seemed really broken up at the end of this movie about being betrayed by the bad guys.
He
Spoiler.
was genuinely hurt. He's a sensitive soul.
What was it in the early 2000s with spy glasses? Was it a real big thing? It was a big thing. Spy Kids made spy glasses cool. This did.
Well, it was a very covert thing.
And now you got Google Glass.
Oh, there you go.
They exist.
Thanks, Agent Cody Banks. You
Agent Cody
invented
Banks.
Google Glass.
And that kind of, ruins the whole romance of it.
Yeah. Miss Tutti Flutie.
Sounds...
Classic Anthony Anderson. Now make a straight out of Compton joke. Don't worry, he'll be Uncle Compton later.
Yeah.
Uncle straight out of Compton later. I mean, oh brother. This movie, I feel a lot of things when you watch it, and I think that's what this has over the first one is it gave me a lot more feelings. And the first one, gave me, let's say it gave me like 4 solid feelings, and it made me feel those things solidly throughout all of it, evenly throughout. This gave me like 14 feelings.
Specifically when Frankie Muniz got, elbowed in the face.
No,
by
frankly,
Anthony
when we
Anderson.
can see his teeth, like the back of them, it gave me 14 feelings there.
Mhm.
No, don't do it. Are you nuts? You're going to blow off his little Mentos head. And there you go. That's how you say the lines incorrectly, Bartek. You didn't say that. No, here's something... Well, when you see Anthony Anderson, have you seen him in anything before? Have you seen Kangaroo Jack?
I have seen Kangaroo Jack. You see him around. No,
Now-
I mean, not personally. I don't see him on, like, the bus. But, you know, I do see him around.
I feel like if he was on the bus, he'd be like talking to himself.
How would you...
Movies.
I think if he was on the bus... If he was on the bus, he would have burnt DVD copies of his movies and you would just give them to you. He's not even selling them anymore.
I don't know. I don't take the bus that goes in and out of Compton. Straight out of Compton, then straight inner Compton.
He would be on the bus selling Kangaroo Jack, being like, you know that Michael Shannon guy? I gave him his break. It was me.
Tomorrow of our recording, you know, the Oscars are going to happen. By the time this episode comes out, the Oscars will have happened. Could Michael Shannon get an Oscar?
And you know who should accept it?
Anthony Anderson.
No, even better.
The
Michael
whole-
Shannon wins the Oscar and they hand him, instead of the statue, a little statue of Anthony Anderson.
Oh, I was going to say a Kangaroo Jack memorabilia.
Oh, no, even better.
Because that's his
Instead of
option.
handing him the statue of the Oscar, they just hand him Anthony Anderson, like someone's holding him in their arms, like, here you go, Michael, and he just goes, thanks.
We all know how much you loved Kangaroo Jack and the rapping kangaroo.
Do you think it was Anthony's idea to dress in this outfit?
The Bobo?
Yeah.
Well, someone had to have the idea.
Honestly, it looks pretty comfortable.
Yeah, Bobo looks good.
Yeah, look, ladies go loco for a brother in a Bobo. That was something someone wrote down or thought of on the day.
Well, it rhymes, Ryan.
It does, it's a rap.
Yeah.
That's what raps are.
Throw it into a rap and yeah.
So why do you need the American leader at the end if you have every other leader?
Because
I mean, you have the Russians.
I think when Russia's there, it's actually called G8. I might be wrong.
What?
Oh, apparently, look it up.
But maybe
G7.
one of the G7 people weren't there. Where's Australia in this? Are we involved in the G7?
We're not one of the 7.
We're very influential, Ryan.
We are. Where's our didgeridoo playing
Boomerang thrower.
Boomerang? Where's Kangaroo Jack in this movie? He should be there in his lucky jacket, representing his fucking country. Why aren't we ever involved in the world domination schemes in these movies? You never see a movie where James Bond has to foil an evil Australian. Even though we have...
Donald Trump, if you're listening, give us, heads up.
No, Rupert Murdoch could give us a heads up. He's an evil Australian.
Yeah, he is. But, I mean, that's kind of like a fun fact.
Fun fact.
He's
have-
Australian.
Fun fact, we have an evil Australian.
I mean,
Who's
America has it. Actually, he has America, so...
He has every paper ever.
He doesn't have the paper that you wrote notes on.
Fuck you,
No, he
Rupert.
does in fact own that.
Yeah, on my piece of paper, I'm looking now. There's a moment later in which they're having a fight, the girl and one of the evil dentist, and she's like, this is gonna hurt. And I'm like, oh. And then they fought. I wrote, no nut shots? And then later on there was a nut shot. So this movie really plays with the expectations. It's setting up nut shots, not delivering them, then delivering them.
In conclusion, S Club 7 is stronger than dentistry.
And nuts.
Well, I mean, nuts are kind of, fragile.
No, it
And they're
depends
not-
on nut.
and
Walnuts.
and they don't
strong.
and they don't like balance out that they do a lot of damage if you use them in a fight. So it's kind of like a penalty, or not a penalty, but like a handicap. Yeah, handicap.
Where do you think they get these outfits from? The bad guys. Where do you think they went?
I think the costume department got them. That's a joke, everyone. You can clap if you want. Will's one had good rhythm.
All right, no compliments then for me then.
Well, you were clapping under the table, so...
Ah, that's exactly it. Because mine's more mannered.
When I
Good
first
job.
mentioned I was going to watch this movie, a friend clarified that they'd seen it before.
And they loved
But they
it.
thought Frankie Muniz and Elijah Wood were the same person.
Well,
They
that's
hadn't-
fun
they hadn't
because in
seen
our
it a
previous
long time.
episode, Elijah Wood was an answer to trivia. Any trivia for this episode?
I did find some quizzes, but they had kind of lame questions that were more about the actor's other work than the
Here's
film.
something. Keith David just got told to keep his hair on, and then he checked his hair. Is that indicating that Keith David wears a toupee?
It could be a little
Maybe John
subtle
wears a
gag.
toupee.
Oh, this is Uncle Compton scene.
And there's Alfie Allen acting his little heart out.
And he's going to be upside down in a second.
Well, that
Well,
happens
what is dead
when
may
you...
never die. Do
and
you
here's-
remember Game of Thrones, guys?
Yeah.
That's a
masturbator.
popular show.
Yeah.
What was his name? Jerk off?
Jerk a lot.
Jerk a lot.
Because he jerks a lot. And I love how he's massaging him to, like, hurt it. Smack. Yes. Now keep an eye on that kid there. Isn't that right, Will? Is that
Comes
one,
back.
One
yeah?
of my favorite
Comes
characters.
Your favourite character. He's relevant to this whole entire thing. So, let's talk about the obvious person in the room. Frankie Muniz. Let's all give a little thing about what we think about him as a performer. I mean, we've done it before on
This is
our
our third-
previous agent, but
episode
like
with
it's good. What do we feel about him?
Well, you can buy Big Fat Lie for $15 on iTunes, and you can buy this movie for $15 on iTunes. So I think Frankie Muniz is worth about $15
No.
for 2 hours at a time.
Oh, yeah, there you go, yeah. I was going to say, if you combine all of his movies, he's worth at least $200. But,
What?
What
What
do
do
you-
I feel about him?
yeah.
I don't know, he's a handsome kid.
I think he also go-karts.
Go-karts?
Professionally. Possibly semi-professionally. I don't know.
I think go-karts is a bit of an understatement. It wasn't
He-
Formula One.
He does Formula One.
Okay, well look, those are basically the exact same thing.
I know, it was just a bit
One
of an
for
understatement.
children,
There's not really
one
much
for
difference.
Frankie.
It's perfect. Go-karting, Formula One, they're the same stuff.
And this is just
It's the same thing as NASCAR too, that's just go-karting in a circle.
and he just did a little bit of slapsies with the German kid.
Alfie Allen, yeah.
German
Have you
kid.
guys seen John Wick? Alfie Allen dies in that.
Spoiler alert for the first John Wick. He plays the evil Russian kid.
Spoiler
Take
alert
that.
that he's talking about the first one, Ryan.
Sorry guys, if you wanted to watch John Wick, but you made the better choice to watch Agent Cody Banks 2, because it's clearly
Destination London.
It's clearly a better action movie.
Here's a fun thing: connections between John Wick 2 and Agent Cody Banks 2. John Wick 2 takes place in Europe, as does Agent Cody Banks.
Destination London.
You're right, London is in Europe.
I nailed it.
I can't believe that I can believe it.
I feel sorry for this poor butler,
Butler.
and then the president. You know, I feel sorry for him too because he's just trying to do his job. Do you ever feel? I know we live in a Trump America right now, Trump first. But do you ever feel sorry for U.S. presidents and movies that they get kidnapped, they get assassinated, target, and all that? But it doesn't seem that interesting in real life.
Yeah, well, it's that brilliant thing of kidnapping someone with a lot of power, but at the end of the day, they are just human, so they need extra help to be harder to kidnap and things like that. This is a president kidnapping tips podcast.
Yeah, how to kidnap your president. 101. My tip would be hire Frankie Muniz.
Yes, we can't actually speak on that behalf because we live in a prime minister land.
Yes, we live in Prime Minister land. You know who would be a great Prime Minister? Frankie Muniz. I would love him as our Prime Minister. It doesn't care.
I think the nephew of Compton would be a good prime minister.
No, I want Uncle Compton.
Well, Uncle
Anthony
Compton
Anderson.
too, but he's American.
Because he has already been to Australia.
That is true. He has been in a film called Kangaroo Jack.
It's a pillar of Australian culture that he's appeared in, so it would only be fitting.
Is
If
this
he
a
became
pillar
Prime
of
Minister.
British culture?
Sorry?
Is this a pillar of the British culture?
Oh, you're talking about the film?
Yes.
Well, it's about as British a film as Kangaroo Jack is Australian,
So, yes.
And as we know, in real life, if you can compare one thing to another, they're exactly the same.
Yeah. My finger, God. Same.
Just like the picture. If you steal a chocolate, that's a crime. If you murder someone, that's a crime.
Same sentence.
If
If I murdered Will right now, I'd only get like a little bit of time because it's the same as it was me eating his Mentos that he gave us.
Can I have a Mentos, please?
Nah, you can get them when we get the reviews. You've been a naughty boy this episode.
Have I?
No, you've been a good boy.
Cool.
Here, have a Mentos.
Yes!
Will, you're not getting any of your own food. Fuck you.
This isn't an explosive one. You're not being nice to me just because it's going to explode, right?
No, it's not because it's going to explode. I'm a nice man. Here, have a yellowy Mentos. It's kind of orange. He's eating it. The fool.
Yeah, I think that's orange flavour. Might be pineapple. Not sure.
Bartek's dead. We finally moved on from Spit and Polish Presents to just Spit and Polish Present. We got rid of the is because that required two of us. Now Bartek's dead, finally. I can do my lifelong dream of podcasting, which is to tell you the truth about me as an individual. And the truth is, I love Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London. I mean, for this podcast, I don't think I've been communicating that enough. The love of this movie. Will watched this for the first time, as did I. I've seen the previous movie, he has not, but we both have something in common. We love this film. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And if Bartek was here today, if he wasn't dead on the floor right now, his blood staining my carpet, what a dick, by the way, for doing that. He would have agreed with us right now. He would have said loudly and boldly that he loved Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London. That's what he would have said. In fact, I've got his willing testament right here, right in front of me, right now. And it says, I leave all of my possessions, all of them, to Ryan Sliwinski. And you know what his possessions are? I've got them right here because I was prepared for him to die in this podcast. I went to his house. I talked to his mum, lovely lady. She speaks Polish as well. I don't. But we spoke in English and I said, Bartek's going to die today. And she said, great. Do you need all of his stuff right now? And I said, yes. Yes, I do, Bartek's mum. She passed me all of his stuff. One suitcase of stuff. That's all he had to his name. And a pillow. And I got a pillow. And in that suitcase is nothing. I repeat, nothing but copies of Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London on VHS, DVD, Laserdisc, downloaded copy, every single thing you can imagine. In English, in Polish, Russian, every language, every single copy. In fact, if you look in your DVD collection right now, and you owned a copy of Agent Cody Banks 2, you'll find it's no longer there because Bartek used to own every copy of Agent Cody Banks 2, and now I own them all. And if you want a copy of Agent Cody Banks 2, do drop us a message on our Facebook page, Spin Polish Presents, and we'll make sure to mail. I'll make sure, and Will make sure to mail you a copy of it with maybe a personalized note saying how much I love you for wanting to carry on Bartek's legacy. Because it's really his legacy. You know what? This episode should be called Unappreciated Masterpieces, Bartek's Legacy. In which we just have to really dedicate this to a man. Will...
Guys, I'm so sorry I'm late. Who's the dead guy?
It's your brother, Oscar!
No! My brother died! What are we watching anyway?
We're watching Agent Cody Banks 2.
Oh shit, I'm not too late, am I?
No, we were about near the end, but get the fuck out of here, Oscar's dead body. Sorry, your brother grew a beard, and he looks exactly like you. But guess what, Bartek?
What?
Your mum thought you were gonna die, and she
What?
gave me all your copies of Agent Cody Banks 2.
Oh, thank God. I have 2 copies of Metal Gear Solid 2 at home. I didn't want you to get those.
Oh, thank God, I don't want them. They're trash. But not like Agent Cody Banks 2, which is pure gold. I mean, you know it's gold right now, Will, because
Yes.
we're getting the most famous scene anyone knows of this movie, which is very similar to a movie we've done on this show before, Gulliver's Travels, in which, how do we solve a solution? We randomly
Solve
sing.
a problem, Ryan.
How do we randomly solve a problem with a solution? We sing impromptuly.
War
What is it good for?
by Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
And the answer is absolutely nothing. And there's nothing more tasteful than a German kid
Yeah.
singing War, what is it good for, to the British.
Yep.
Because they started it. Just saying. And as a Polish person, as you are, Bartek, and not you, Will, we understand that the Germans deserve to know war, what is it good for, absolutely nothing, because they've never learned that lesson in the previous 2 world wars. So there's never been World War III because they learned that lesson. Isn't that right, Bartek? They learned it's good for nothing.
Yep. It's absolutely nothing. Say it again, y'all.
No.
War.
No,
Ugh.
stop.
Good
We
God, now.
We don't have
Yeah.
the copyright. We don't have the budget of Agent Cody Banks 2. We can't afford it. I'm breaking up into tears.
Ryan's reusing this joke. He must be right.
I'm not reusing it. I am resampling it.
Whoa. Look at him swing that club.
Oh, I thought you were singing it again.
I thought he smelt something and went, whoa.
I thought he was saying like that. Whoa.
Well, I mean, there is a dead body in here.
Now,
so-
whose guitar is that? He's like, dude, there's a famous guitar. Whose
It's the
guitar?
Queen's.
Yeah, you know the Queen. She rocks out. We don't even get the subtitles for War. What is it good for? We just have to assume nothing's happening.
Well, do they sing anything beyond the chorus? Yeah, they do.
They sing the whole song.
Yeah, I know, but usually if subtitles vanish,
Come
it's
on,
because
Liz.
things get like repeated a lot. But
Can the Prime Minister just call her Liz? Well,
I mean, if they're close.
he touched her.
Yeah, I mean,
they're
that
pretty
must
close.
be an
Oh,
indicator
here's
of
the nut
closeness.
shot coming up.
Here's the
Ryan.
nut shot, and he does it to himself.
Yeah, that's kind of unexpected for a main villain.
Well, no, not really. But not.
Depending on what kind of
Yeah,
villain.
but if it was Diaz, I don't think Diaz would have
Yeah,
done that, and
that's
that's
what
where
I
this
meant.
movie falters. You know,
like
the
his,
real
like
reason-
his body when he hits himself.
the
in
real
crotch.
reason it's unappreciated is because Diaz hit himself in the nuts. That's not Diaz.
Mm.
That's not the Diaz I know.
That would have been the dentist.
That would have been totally the dentist.
Yeah.
Or this guy. He's a bit clumsy too.
What if they remade this climactic scene so that
But with the actual Queen.
that and the idea that all three of our trio of villains all swap their flaws?
Nice. I also would have oh, this is the guy. Okay. So, see this Asian man here?
Yeah.
He was my second favorite character because
That's short for
No,
cause.
Cause he gets up. This is true, isn't it, Will? He gets up on the table, not as that's dancing, but he gets up as he's getting up. He goes, "Whoa!" And I'm like, could you get any more Asian? Like, it's a weird stereotype that noise, the "whoa," but he did it,
Yeah,
and I want to
it's-
know, did he get directed to do that? Yeah, see that black kid there?
Yeah, it's not even a martial arts film.
But you know,
Well,
you
I
see,
mean-
Ryan, because these headphones, sometimes when one of the side of the headphones isn't working, you can't hear all the noises that are going on in a movie or a
Yeah.
song. I've watched it twice with these headphones, and I didn't hear a whoa.
I heard
So
it.
this is news to me.
You're missing out. He
I
goes.
missed out on the whoa.
He goes.
Sure it wasn't a
"Whoa."
German?
No, it was the Asian man.
Okay.
I am not
I'm pretty
crazy.
sure- I'm pretty sure that
If
Asian
you
man
guys-
is the Chancellor of Germany.
Remix it into a song. I'll be proud. So was it a surprise to you that Jenkins was an agent?
I mean, I wasn't expecting it, but when I saw it happen, I was like, yeah, I can accept that.
Well, you have to. They're telling you have to,
Also, the German kid said "danke" very much.
which is wrong.
I'm just saying that he, used two languages, so it's like, hey,
Is that what you do?
yeah,
So he's a good boy.
yeah. I'm not saying he's a bad boy. I'm just saying.
Unlike
he
your
did it.
dead cunt brother Oscar, who's lying here on the floor bleeding out. Are you gonna get your mum to come over and clean this mess up? That is your brother. Jesus.
I don't want to think about that, Ryan.
Ryan,
Let's
you,
not
your
talk about
carpet's already filthy. Just let it go.
It's filthy because you brought
You-
fucking
you-
Mentos here.
You said the
Just
cunt
spit-
word, Ryan, and that's not nice.
Canute. I'm sorry.
There we go.
Is that alive still? Canute? Was it a bear? Or a
I
penguin?
don't have a single clue.
Do you know what
Or
I'm
a
talking about?
second.
Could I get a bit more detail?
Cheerio, dude.
Was it a polar bear called Canute?
Oh, you're giving me vaguely something here, and this is gonna bug me. What? Who is Canute the polar bear?
Oscar, Bartek's brother. We already established this, Will. Get on the ball.
No, I'm off the ball.
You leave
Me
my
and the
family out
ball
of this,
aren't in
Ryan.
the same room.
Hey, I already joked about your mum a lot. I hope she listens to this episode in particular. She's like, oh, that's cute. She mentioned me.
She called Oscar a cunt. Yeah. I mean, he. I used the wrong.
So your
Yeah.
brother's a girl now. That explains the lack of dick.
Well, I said she called Oscar.
My brother listens to this episode from the afterlife.
I mean, if you're in the afterlife, you probably have access to like everything. You probably do everything at the same
No,
time.
you don't have access to Agent Cody Banks 3.
Oh, we missed him asking for a chocolate surprise.
But we did miss the dad looking really confused at this really grown adult man touching his kid.
I mean, to be fair, the kid was touching him as well.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Well, that just makes it fine.
The mum really does look like Deborah from Everybody Loves Raymond.
I'd say that's accurate.
But fun fact, it's not her. And the movie is ending now with Alex giving us the quintessential things of wanting to have food.
Oh,
This
here
movie
comes
really
the
ends
Swiss
with a
Army
message
knife.
of communism as well, where
It's weird.
he shares everything. And look, here's a Swiss Army knife, the most
With
used
tweezers.
with tweezers.
That face Alex is making, that's a villain in the making.
Hmm.
Like the Zoom 2?
No, anti-hero. He's an anti-hero. Punisher with Alex,
Yeah.
where he just shoots them.
Camp Woody, but with a K.
I really thought they were gonna bump into that guy with their car and he'd just fall into the water. The guy that's walking really slowly with the red jumper. Is he okay?
I'm sure
I
he's
don't know.
fine.
Has he got something not wrong with him? Like, he's really walking slow. Like, look, he's still there.
He's struggling.
This couple have walked really far.
Yeah, and if you've ever been an extra, it means they have to probably do that many times.
So he's probably tired.
Yes.
He's just like, screw it, I'm on Agent Cody Banks too. I'm going to
What
walk
if-
as fast as I want.
What if everyone in this scene was in on it? It's like, hey, let's just keep doing it against the tire amount.
Thanks, Kevin Allen. You did a good job. I'm glad that you hired Keith Allen to be the main antagonist and Alfie Allen to be the German.
It's a full-blown Alan bonanza.
And it's got the girl from S Club 7.
It's a trifecta of Allens. Now, this is the end, guys. We have come to the we have come to the emotional climax, the end. And,
Yeah,
we're
there you
gonna-
go, Jason Alexander and Madonna.
I've always wanted to see them work
God,
together.
I think there's even more than 11 producers on this.
Now,
Well, I said 12 earlier, so...
Bartek and
Well, 12
I...
is more, I think more than 12 even.
We are going to give our reviews and ratings, and then Bartek and I are going to read some reviews and comments from YouTube and IMDb. But first, I'm going to have one little detour, Bartek, which is, Bartek, I was asking myself, why no Hilary Duff in Agent Cody Banks 2?
Yeah?
So I typed that into Google,
Mm-hmm.
and it led me to a site called Hillary Fan, in which there's a...
Specifically Duff?
Yeah.
Okay, because we live in a world where there was just a really important Hillary.
Yeah, Duff.
News. Yeah.
So, why Hillary... This is a thread of conversation called Why Hillary Duff Didn't Appear in Agent Cody Banks 2. That's the name of the thread, and then this is the person asking. That's my question. Why Hillary Duff didn't appear in Agent Cody Banks 2? I mean, I read many times that she was going to be in that movie. Sorry for my English. I'm not from the USA. Came from South America. Hillary Duff rules forever. She is my god. Please. Please. I want friends in Chile. Where I live, no one knows Hill. So I want to know people that live in USA and know Hill, or just have friends. You know, I don't know anyone in USA, and then sad face.
That devolved from a question to a plea for friends.
And then the reply to that is, I don't think she wanted to, but I do know that she was filming another movie and it would not get done in it. That was the reply. And then another reply to that one was, there could be many reasons why she wasn't in it. Hillary would be too busy working with different projects, other movies, promoting her current album, approving stuff, etc. Therefore, the storyline would have to change. And then the final comment
Okay.
that just ends it all. This person shared the previous reply and then just wrote, I really don't know. And that's it. They really needed to chip in. I really don't know. Brittany Rudd, in case you want to know their name. So that was just a little threads of conversation I thought would be very
from the
interesting.
Hillary fans.
From the Hillary fans.
The non-political Hillary.
Oh, Bartek, let's hear from you first. Your rating and review, or review and rating.
I'll do the traditional one. So I've already established. I mean, my brother or my imposter, whoever that was.
Your brother, Oscar, he's dead now.
The person.
We are burying him tomorrow in my backyard.
I will speak for the entirety of the people who sat in the seat that I'm in.
You're in his blood.
I'm in his seat.
In his stool.
In where I'm sitting, I've established that this film, we feel, is more funny than the first one. Whether that's it actually makes you laugh more, or it's geared to be a comedy more, or if it's just the better film, it depends on how you're judging it. But I feel like that was the attitude in the making of this film. When films get sequels, that's always, kind of a touchy subject. And I guess that's sort of a theme of this February month we're doing of duologies, because by its very nature we're doing the sequel to an original as well as the original, but obviously in reverse order, because that makes sense, because 1's before 2, just like how 11's before 12.
It's like peas before poos, yeah.
I like peas.
A good poop is good.
But you do have a point, Ryan, in that the characterization might feel a bit off at times, especially with the few returning characters we have. But I feel like that really just goes back to that whole notion of once a film, which is intended to be standalone, is over, you kind of want the main character to just be at their best. So this really is, them being loyal to that notion. This is Odie Banks, Agent Cody Banks at his best, and this mission can only be done by the best. This film is all about the best of everything. In fact, we have one of the best actors that we featured on this show, Anthony Anderson, back in this film. Before I mean last week, we had an actor from the first film we ever did appear, Frankie Muniz. He's back. Now we have an actor from the third film we've ever done returning.
But no one from Thunderpants. So.
I'm Ron Weasley's dad, I guess. But
he wasn't in Thunderpants.
Yeah, I know that, but Ron Weasley was, so...
There you go, nailed it.
That's a light connection to that. Look, whether...
Wait, we had a fart in this movie. There you go.
There we go.
That's the bridge.
But we've had farts all through it. Never mind. Look, obviously in this review, I've said that I like this film more, I think it's funnier, but I've also said things that, would be in favour of the first one being better. But this all just goes back to that notion that we just keep hammering on and on and on about every time we do a sequel or an adaptation. It's not about becoming better or the best. It's about expanding the universe that's created. Expanding, not even just the universe of the film, but the universe of film in general. It's all about bringing it all back to you.
Yeah.
That's an S Club 7 reference.
I got it.
Yes.
I didn't get it. Go on.
I think that would be it for my review, so I will give this film a rating.
Yeah, you will.
And I think that rating is, there ain't no film like an Agent Cody film.
That was beautiful, mate. I love that. I'm going to go straight in. Well, you're going to be lucky last with this. But I'm going to go straight in. Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London. I do feel like it is a weaker film than the first one. But that doesn't mean it isn't a strong film, to say the least. The first film made such an impression that the sequel had a real challenge on its hands. And I think a part of the challenge was not having a lot of the returning cast. Not having Hilary Duff, not having the scientists, not having this, and this. But it filled in the blanks by having Anthony Anderson. Just him alone fills in the blank of Hilary Duff. Who needs Hilary Duff when you have a big, strong, chocolatey man who's Anthony Anderson? That's right. That's right, you only need him.
He's the human chocolate surprise.
He is the human chocolate surprise. And Frankie Muniz is the glue that that holds the whole project together. Frankie Muniz has a certain level of charm, charisma, lovable nature to him. That quirky look that he has, but that arrogant sound in his voice that's just enough. It's not annoying, but it's just enough. He is the quintessential actor of this time. He is the teenage boy of the 2000s, of the early 2000s. And I think we've lost that. I think we've lost the child star. The only child star I can honestly think of is two child stars that I can think of right now in this day and age, which is I think one of them's called Ed Oxenbould, who was in The Visit, the M. Night Shyamalan movie. He's been in a lot of stuff. And Jacob Tremblay, who was in Room. Not The Room, just Room. And both those guys are very good, but none of them are Frankie Muniz. We've lost the art of having a Macaulay Culkin, a Frankie Muniz, and Elijah Wood. We've lost that art. And I think it's one we need to get back in movies. And watching movies like Agent Cody Banks 2 reminds us that sometimes we've stepped too far forward. We've reached too close to the sun. Because we've moved beyond Agent Cody Banks 2 as a society, and I think that's where we've gone wrong. Is that why we have Trump as president? Maybe. Maybe because we didn't give this movie 10 stars out of 10. And that is what I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it a simplistic 10 out of 10. Usually with the ratings, we give them bizarre or absurd, but for a movie of this caliber, you have to be honest with this. And I am being honest. Not saying Bartek and Will aren't going to be honest, but for me, I'm going to be straight with you. This is a 10 out of 10 movie. No jokes, no sniggers, none of that. This is a 10 out of 10.
And if you had to give it a rating?
Your mama.
Will, it's your turn.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen the first one, but I'll lie and state my review as if I have. These two films are like night and day. They're nothing alike whatsoever, but that doesn't necessarily mean one's bad and one's good. They're both strong films. They had Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London had me laughing all the way to the banks. The Cody Banks. Sometimes a sequel doesn't need to be what you expect. It needs to be what you need. And I think we as a society needed this film like tetanus shots. I give it Operation Midnight Climax out of MK Ultra and give it a strong recommendation.
Bartek, let's hear from you, some YouTube comments that you've collected. Now, where did you find these comments? Are these just for the trailer?
I'm not entirely sure if I got any from the trailer, but just from random videos of the film on YouTube, whether it be just a scene or a part whatever out of 11 of the full film.
Excellent.
So some of them might be referring to specific things, but I feel like a lot of these can be considered a general thing.
General.
Such as the first one, which is still chill inspiring after 10 years since seeing it. You know, some people... You know, we talked about in our reviews that some people haven't seen it and, you know, they're kind of out of it. But this guy right here, or person, whatever, I'm not assuming they're gender. They got it. Still chill inspiring. Just like the next one, which is like this if you're still watching this in 2014, lol.
Did you?
I mean, it was 2017 for me.
Well, that's why you're right. I'm doing it.
There were 8 likes on that comment, though, Ryan.
Well, there you go. 8 people watched it.
There's 8 bold pioneers keeping the memory alive.
And hey, this one right here, it kind of goes contrary to one of Ebert's recurring notions about these films.
Take that, Ebert.
Take this, Ebert. Listen. You can do that. These are way better than Spy Kids to me. When I lived in Ottawa, I think met some real kids like this, lol.
I'm very glad that someone added that. I'll read a review from IMDb.
I mean, I'm not going to stop you.
I'm going to read a review from...
Wait. I want this one.
Just like a couple of episodes...
Elsewhere.
Just like, what?
You going to go?
Any of the other ones, but I want the first one.
So you're going to read us the first
This is
one?
like...
Should I go right away?
This is like an episode of
All
Oscar
right.
where...
So remember, it flips over onto the second page. So this is like our episode of Oscar where we let
Rob wanted to read a comment. He read the best comment.
Review. Crappy sequel. An embarrassment even to Frankie Muniz himself.
That's the title.
3 out of 10. Author, movie critic, Marvel fan from California.
We know where you live now.
25th of May, 2004. So pretty close to the release date, I imagine.
Yep.
Frankie Muniz comes back as Cody Banks in this lackluster sequel in which he comes out of kids' spy school to track down a Hispanic dictator named Diaz, who used to be in the CIA. I don't think it's ever implied that Diaz is a dictator. Lame jokes are abound in this sequel, as the jokes will pass you by without making you laugh. Although kids might get them, like the chocolate surprise joke and millions of James Bond references. One aspect I didn't like in this sequel are the numerous racial insults and stereotypes in the film, ranging from a Middle Eastern with a bad accent, bad British accent, but okay, to a black Muslim who plays the trumpet! Man, I don't know how this on screen. It also explains...
That's the best read.
It also explains why Roger Ebert gave this film a thumbs down. Still, if you like dumb entertainment, check it out. Postscript. Speaking of dumb racial stereotypes, that girl who plays the blonde dumb bimbo who believes the lies of Cody is a near riot at the expense of dumb blonde stereotypes. A few laughs, yes, but is this a good movie? No.
No.
And it wasn't a trumpet, it was a French horn. And I don't know if we got that guy's religion. I really
He was
don't
just
think we
black.
did.
So, I'll read the next one. Actually, it's great. 9 out of 10 stars.
It's like a response.
From 2008. Before I saw this movie on DVD, I had low expectations about this film because of the negative reviews about it. I must say that I liked it a lot. This film is just as good as the first Banks, minus Hilary Duff. This time round, Banks attends a CIA camp during the summer. One night, troops came to take the leader of the camp away, but Banks thought it was just a drill. How wrong he turned out to be. Just had to include that. The guy who escaped is a mind control geek, and he wants to use the devices to take over the world. Banks must head to London, team up with 2 more agents, a hot chick, and an agent who stays in London, and stop the world from turning into mind control freaks. The acting is great, especially with all 3 agents played by Frankie Muniz, Anthony Anderson, and Hannah Spirit. The plot was a simple one with a few comedic points added in. I recommend this film to everyone. I rate this film a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Hit us, Bartek.
I mean, not literally. I'm just going to read.
Let's just hit your dead brother's body on the floor.
I'm just going to read
Fuck out of here.
some more comments.
Yeah, breathe.
I love these movies. My favorite movies, and will always stick with me. I screwed that up. Because of Spy Kids and the times changing so fast, these movies didn't get the chance to be as big. You guys did great on the movie. Thank you so much for doing your work. And the next one is, actually the next 2 are very enthusiastic. They want to be in the world of the movie, because this one is, I want to go to Camp Woody!
Yay.
And the next comment is, wanna be spy, P.
Well, I have a 5-star review here, so very even review. Very, very down the middle. Pretty good for children. 2012, this one came out. This is a sequel to the original version. Agent Cody Banks. This is great for children 5 to 8 to 9. Why did they just decide?
Get rid of the 8.
I very much recommend for children those age frames. Then again, I don't recommend for older teens. 12 plus. Your older teens might not enjoy as much. Older teens will start wanting to watch horror movies and movies with more mature content. This movie has some fight scenes, but no blood and gore. Age appropriate for 5+. This will probably excite your child with the cool spy gadgets and toys. Overall, this show's great for kids. Not so great for your older teens. It doesn't have the punch to be a thriller. I suggest watching with your child if you decide to watch ... That's the end of the review.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Just so coincidentally, you went to the next page.
The review just ends. They leave it like there's going to be more. But let's give us one or two more, because the next one I have is a full page.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Thanks.
I've got 7 more comments, so how many?
Give us 2.
Hit me.
This next one is a question, which, I'm sure we'll be able to answer. Jak się nazywa dziewczyna Cody'ego, co grała w pierwszy Agent Cody 1, czy jakoś tak? Pisze po polsku. Do you want to answer that one, Ryan?
Yes.
The answer is Frankie Muniz.
No, it's actually Hilary Duff.
Oh my god, really?
You're close.
He was asking what the name of the girl from the first movie was. In fact, the last bit is I'll just say it again. Jak się nazywa dziewczyna Cody'ego, co grała w pierwszy Agent Cody 1, czy jakoś tak? It's basically asking, what was the name of the girl who was Cody's girlfriend in the first film? And then the second line is pisze po polsku, which means I'm writing in Polish.
Oh, jeez.
Fuck you.
They pointed out.
Thank you.
And the second one you asked me to read you to, this is someone who is commenting on the caliber of the Cody Banks character.
The caliber.
Cody's so cute, ... and amazing actor.
Aww. Well, we have a 7-star review here that is basically a thesis called Awesome Cinematography Saves Awful Script. This was written in 2006 by the great author Ray 280 from Philadelphia. Yay!
Philly.
When watching Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London, for the zillionth time on cable. Okay, keeping it on in the background when there's nothing else to watch, okay? I have to say that this film is one of the best examples of great cinematography I've ever seen. There aren't blinding special effects like we saw in the first movie. A pack of exploding Mentos provides the best effects and drama throughout the film. But the director deserves an A+ with an extra credit for presentation. As for the script, you can almost hear Hilary Duff in the background yelling, "Don't do it, Cody!" But Cody went ahead and did it. Bringing along a B-list cast to replace the quasi-A-listers Duff and Angie Harmon. I want to read that again. Replacing the quasi-A-listers Duff and Angie Harmon.
Yeah, that confused me. They used Hilary Duff's last name, but then full name.
No, we need the full Angie.
Yeah.
The supporting cast this time around consists primarily of Anthony Anderson as Derek, who is looking to prove himself and get back in the game, and relative newcomer Hannah Spirit, she of wounded heart thanks to the director, who nixed the idea of a hookup between Cody and her character, Emily, a Scottish special agent of the hottie variety.
Scotty Hottie.
Yeah, but she's not Scottish.
Yeah.
We'll go on. If I were Muniz, I would have gone on strike over this glaring omission, and the male teen audience that this film was targeted to missed out on some great fantasy fodder, similar to what my generation was offered in films like Flashdance. She's that hot, and that you could have done tons with her if they had wanted. Spirit was totally underused here.
Yeah, okay.
Bartek, the plot? Banks has to go to London while posing as a clarinet player, thanks to a clarinet that plays itself in a youth group that is to give a concert just prior to the G7 meeting, where an evil dictator, a very crappy Keith Allen as Diaz, plans to use mind control device to take over the world. The unoriginal plot can be forgiven. However, since this is a Muniz/Banks vehicle, and to that extent, the film stays true to the original.
I like how earlier he thanked the clarinet.
Yeah, good job. Thanks. Without giving away the ending, the film's climax juxtaposes a beautiful orchestra extended remix rendition of a rock classic with Banks doing battle with the bad guys in a scene that few will likely ever forget seeing, even if it doesn't immediately stand out in their minds.
Oh, this guy must have loved
This
Elvis Travels.
one scene excuses the rest of and literally saves the film. Older viewers should appreciate the complexity and beautiful cinematography of the finish, while the kids will focus more on the action, but all should be left without any serious dislike for a film whose script could have been better, but whose execution would have been extremely difficult to improve upon. I actually wrote this review while watching The Dentist 2, and if that story managed a sequel, this one surely has a right to exist. Watch it on cable if you're an adult, but grab the DVD if there are any children under 16 in your house, or if you are a big fan of 1960s psychedelic rock redone by a youth orchestra. That's a specific bracket of people. Bartek?
Last 5 comments?
Yeah.
Or do you have any more reviews?
I have one review, but it's shortish, so
Alright.
Blast us.
I'll finish off.
finger blast us, go.
Okay, I want to forget that I'm already 18 and in 3rd year college. I want to go to that camp. It's some people that just still feel the child inside. Them, the child inside of themselves. I'm not saying that the child's penetrating him, Ryan, so just relax.
Can we go 5 minutes without some references to child molestation?
Well, remember earlier I was comparing crimes and I didn't go to any sexual violence crimes.
Was that you or your brother?
I can't remember anymore.
So, keep going.
This next person doesn't really get...
I think I laughed because I didn't know if it was you or the reviewer still talking.
No, I want to go to that camp was the end of that one. This next commenter, I think, doesn't get it.
Good.
He thinks he's in the CIA. Wow. He is in the CIA.
Maybe that's Alex.
Maybe.
That's Alex.
That's Alex writing. He's like my fucking brother.
This next comment is a pure one. A person who gives a really honest and heartfelt reason why he likes the first movie more than this one.
Oh, poetry in motion.
And it's a very short one. It's simple. I like the old handler. Damn, she was a cougar.
Yeah. Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
I
she
cried
was
on
after
the
a younger
inside.
man, apparently.
She was damn good.
Although I think that the first film really robbed us of some fantasy that they didn't get together.
That and the second one did give us the voluptuous Anthony Anderson, so...
That's true.
Damn!
Alright, this next one. I feel so retarded now looking at the scene saying Diaz using it in the... What, Ryan? I'm reading a comment and you're laughing.
They open it up with, I feel so retarded now.
I know that feeling. I really empathise there.
Keep going, Diaz.
I'll start again. I feel so retarded now looking at the scene saying, and this is in quotes, Diaz using it in a bad way. Back then, the film was like so cool, but now, mind control, even in the good way, CIA, please! Still, I like the movie. Capital D.
He's right, Colin. Colin is completely right.
And we got the last one here.
The last one
Buckle
is...
your pants, guys.
It's a person who... You know how when movies make you ask questions and they make you really inquisitive? And
Yeah.
You just kind of have to call out for a question and an answer. This person's calling out. Please, someone can tell me what is the song that the dog was playing at 7 minutes? Question mark, 3 exclamation marks.
Well, Bartek,
Question.
we've got one here for you that you're gonna love.
Oh boy.
The title's already missing an I,
Oh,
so it was. T was hard to believe this was the sequel to the Oregano. ... 10 out of 10 from 2004. In Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London, Cody Muniz returns to Camp Woody for more training. He then goes to London as an exchange student. His new mission involves a mind control device. Anthong Anderson and Hannah Spirit also star. I have to say, I loved the first one. It was energy-filled, action-packed, and funny. I find it hard to believe this was the sequel to Agent Cody Banks. They are totally different. Everything about each differs in some way, but I did like this. It is funnier. The plot in this is pretty good. The action is fun, and the new gadgets are cool. I think this would have been better if they kept the old director, Angie Harmon, and Hilary Duff, though. Overall, good. Enjoyable for 7 to 14. Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London, 3 out of 4 stars. PG action sequences and brief crude humour. And language. LOL. And that's the end.
I like how the reviews keep stepping up like the oldest age of people who like it.
Yeah, one of them says like what was it, 5 to 8 year olds?
Yeah, no one
To 9.
over 10, no one over 12, no one over 14.
And then the one that said no one plus 12, they're like, if you have 16s and under in your house, buy this on DVD. That's what they actually said in the same review.
Right.
So guys, that there was Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London. We have been joined by the amazing Will Brooks. Will, it's always a pleasure to have you.
Thanks, listening people.
Yeah, take a moment there to thank yourself. And the rest of you. Bartek, it was great to have your brother on, even though he was a cunt and died. Now you're here.
May he rest in peace.
And you're here, and it's great to have you on for the show. I mean, I can't believe your brother Oscar pretended to be you for the whole entire show until he died, brutally. And, guys, thank you. I mean, if you do want Agent Cody Banks 2, we have every single copy in existence right now, so we're really holding the market on the Cody Banks world.
It's a monopoly.
It's a whole it's a bank just for Cody Banks. If you want a loan, you have to
Laughing
go
all the way to the Cody Banks.
So
Destination London.
no, he just said 2.
Yeah.
I love
Don't you know it's Agent Cody 2 Banks?
Yeah.
Destination London.
Destination.
So guys, you've been amazing, wonderful, superfluously great listening people. If you do want to help us out, give us a rating on iTunes or give a review even. You could be one of these amazing reviews, but about us.
Yeah.
You could be, if you're cool.
Yeah.
And we
I think you
have
are.
our Facebook, and now we have a YouTube page and a Podbean, and it's all Spit and Polish Presents.
Yep.
You can drop us a line on the Facebook page if you want a suggestion for an unappreciated masterpiece. Well, we'd love to hear it because, hey, we may not know. I mean, I don't know what the next movie we're doing is. I haven't even decided that. So you could give us a suggestion right now.
Hannah Spearin, was it Spearin or Spirit?
Spirit.
Hannah Spirit, you know, a member of S Club 7, they had a theatrical movie. Maybe we can do that.
Maybe.
It's called Seeing Double.
You have to suggest it to us, audience.
Go to
Or
the
not.
Facebook page, type Seeing Double, and then we'll be like, oh, never heard of it.
Yep, and don't suggest Double Down by Neil Breen. Different movie. Either way, you guys have been great, and remember to be kind to each other.
Hit that subscribe button.
For YouTube specifically, yes. Hey, Mentos!
You can subscribe on iTunes.
Oh, yeah, that too. We didn't mention iTunes. We mentioned Podbean and YouTube.
Oh.
Can you subscribe on Podbean?
Hey, Mentos!
Yeah, let's have some Mentos. It looks safe because, you know, the joke being that I wasn't here when we started.
No, you weren't here. Bartek, would you love a Mentos?
I would love a men.
And then you toss them out your bed the next morning.
Sounds
is
like
that
a
it?
gold digger.
Will, here you go. A Mentos for Will, a Mentos for me, and a Mentos for Bartek.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're gonna chuck them in our mouths in 3, 2, 1.
Wow, Will had 1 million.
Will exploded a lot today.